We have a lot of games to show off. Today is the conclusion of our relay race. But Team Hob is taking on Team Dino in a 6-game relay race with Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Elden Ring, and Bloodborne.
Wait, I'm doing math on screen, and that's only 5 games. You said there's going to be 6.
That's right, Asuka. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice is our final bonus game incentive for the weekend. If we hit our donation goal, we will unlock Sekiro for the relay race tonight. The milestone amount will be announced very shortly at the beginning of the stream, so stay tuned to find out our goal. Since today is all-day relay race, let's go over the rules real quick. The rules are simple. The winning team of the relay race will be determined by the least number of total hits across all the relay race games. Total in-game time will determine the winner if each team is tied in hits. Let's take a look at yesterday's relay race results before we move on to our third relay race game, Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 1 and 2 were amazing yesterday with some great commentary from the likes of our relay race captains, Dino and Hob for Dark Souls 1. Barker GH had an impressive hitless run, 0 hits chat, in just over an hour and a half. Scoops also had a speedy performance of 10 hits in 1 hour and 50 minutes. Both runners were under their estimates. Well done. Now for Dark Souls 2, we featured commentary from the Dead by Daylight and Dark Souls 2 all bosses legend himself, Ots Darva, and of course, our fellow Team Hitless admin and DS2 speed demon, Bent Pigeon. Ots also raided the stream and dropped a 1K dono bomb. So thank you so much, Ots Darva, for all the support this weekend. Team Hob continued their hitless relay run streak with Marshall getting 0 hits in 2 hours and 1 minute. And then from Team Dino, Soy Kainan had a speedy performance with 9 hits. Their pace matched the estimate time exactly with a run of 2 hours flat. GG to you both. All right, now let's move on to Dark Souls 3 today. Asuka, who are our relay race runners?
Alrighty, for this Dark Souls 3 leg of the relay race, we are going to be handing you over to Team Dino's iskaralpust90 and Team Hob Square. Take it away, you two.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Square. I do Dark Souls 3 hitless runs, and I level Cyros.
And I am Iskaral. I also run DS3 very mediocrely, and I do not love Osiros. But it's not the two of us you're here for, so let's talk about our commentators. We've got 2 legends here to serenade you during our runs here. First up is hitless legend, Dark Souls 3, NG +7, SL1, no weapon upgrades or infusions, all bosses legend, and Elden Ring, all 165 bosses hitless. Our robot overlord, benderzgreat. And joining him, we have a veteran of Dark Souls 3 hitless, Hollow Knight Steel Soul 112%, the queen of positively speedless herself. You know her, you love her. It is serboggit, everyone.
Yo, thank you for the introduction. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing these guys doing their runs today. We're going to have some great variety. How are you feeling about this Boggit?
Feeling good. Thank you so much for the introduction. Very excited to watch some cheeky Dark Souls 3 runs.
Absolutely. So we are going to be doing all base game bosses no hit today, and we're going to have 2 pretty different routes. Skaral is going to be using the bandit knife only for his run. He's going to be starting with the thief class. Starts out with that weapon, and that's the only weapon he's going to use for his run. And on the flip side, Square is going to be doing his run. Again, all base game bosses no hit, and he'll be doing it at soul level 1, but he will be using a couple of different weapons throughout his run. Typically, you start with the raw broadsword, and that's the weapon you use the entire time, but we are going to see some variety, a few different weapons on this run, which is nice to see. It's good to see some good variety at SL1, even with very low stats.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be shaping up to be an interesting one, especially with these characters on screen.
I know, absolutely beautiful. I believe these
Well
were
done. Well
somewhat
done.
requested by Tom, right? A large donation that came
is
in.
correct.
Very nice. So we have some
Speaking
beautiful
of-
characters on
Wow.
screen.
Speaking of
Yes.
Tom's donation, we're going to have to do something very terrible during this run. I apologize. Blame Nuclear Pasta Tom. Also, chat, I need a count at the end of the run how many times you hear "Oh my days" come through the commentary.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Are we going to be able to count that many?
But yeah,
Just don't turn it into a game. Yeah.
if all of you are ready to go, whoever's going to give the countdown, let's get this party started.
Oscar,
Uh-oh.
you do this. I believe in the countdown skills. I don't trust myself to count from 3 to 0, okay?
All right, I'm going to get this rolling by saying, oh, my days. All right, we are going to go from 5. Good luck to runners, and let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Good luck.
All right. Good luck, runners.
luck.
Good luck.
All right, so I am excited to see both of these routes. Like I was saying, there's going to be a little bit of variety between the two runners. One runner, Iskaral, will be using the bandit's knife only, so we'll see, sticking with the same weapon, even though there are some bosses where it's simply not the best choice, and that'll be kind of fun, but very much like a polar opposite to Square, who's going to be using a variety of weapons, and he can sort of tailor what his build will look like depending on the boss that he's fighting. And our runners are running up to the first boss that they will encounter, Udex Gundyr. And so, Boggit, what do you like about Dark Souls 3? I know this game, it's not as divisive as something like maybe Dark Souls 2 at times, but some people love it, some people hate it. What do you enjoy about seeing this game?
Oh boy, the list is endless for me. So it might be a bit biased because I really do enjoy Dark Souls 3. I think one of the big points is the weapon movesets are really, really varied in Dark Souls 3. I find you can use a single weapon. Speaking of, Square using different types of weapons, the various different movesets that you can get from a single weapon is insane to me. Like it's really, really awesome to see because even a one-handed and a two-handed can make a huge difference in how the gameplay goes.
And we see both of our runners here at Gundyr, both handling it well so far. Both of these weapons are actually excellent for taking on Gundyr at the beginning. The bandit's knife is probably the fastest weapon that you can use to do this Gundyr kill. And the club is no joke too. It can be essentially scripted. These are both actually excellent choices. If you're actually doing a leveled run and going with twin blades, the twin blades at the beginning aren't that great. And the alternative is using the assassin class with the S-Stock, which is also not that great of an option. But these were some excellent choices for Gundyr. GG to both our runners for getting through with no problems.
Yes, GG. First boss down. We have quite a few bosses ahead of us today. We're doing all main game bosses, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's quite a huge list. I think DS3 has quite a lovely variety of bosses. Another thing to love about Dark Souls 3, the variety of bosses. Wonderful, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, the 19 bosses in the base game, and that is one thing that really draws people to Dark Souls 3 are the boss fights. Some people don't really care for them, but I think they're fantastic. The way that they're designed, they're very satisfying to fight with a variety of different weapons, and it's just a very satisfying game to run overall. That's why I keep coming back to this game over time. And I believe Iskaral is about to enter High Wall, one of our favorite running sections in Dark Souls 3. Nothing ever goes wrong here. It's an easy, smooth opening to the game. Perfect.
Oh my days. No, it's honestly, High Wall is a very intimidating area and running section. There are a ton of things that are out to get you here. And of course, the boss at the end of this running section is Vought. And I think not just me, I think many of us who run DS3 have quite a history with Vought, I would say.
Yeah, it's Vought is really fun. It's kind of unfortunate that the typical setups we see, you rarely ever fight Phase 2, because Phase 2 Vought is actually quite fun to fight. But at the same time, it's nice to just run through High Wall in a few minutes, get to the end, and breeze through and move on. So it is kind of a nice, maybe not the most difficult boss, but there are some memes to be aware of for sure here. But this running section does seem so scary. Like sometimes you just want to go slow and you want to, play it super safe. But running through these enemies, as long as you do it and you have a good consistent line, it should be fine. There are just many little details to know about running this game. And right at the start here especially, you just want to have a good, clean opening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are so many ways to approach Dark Souls 3 as well, as with most of the games, of course, but with like even the way they just did that running section, and we can see that Square here is going over to pick up the shard, and Iskaral
He's getting this bonfire for later. I think he's going to come back. He might do a little bit of it now, but I think he's going to come back and get Grey Rat later in his run. So that's why he needed this bonfire, so he can return later. Meanwhile, Iskaral is making his way to, what's her name? Emma,
knight?
I believe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the shield bash. Like, that's not the most common thing, but like, especially on a live run, you know, I know it's early, but nerves get high during events and stuff like that. That's not easy.
Absolutely. Taking the middle line as well in that section for the knights can get very, very scary, as we have just seen. I usually opt for the safer route, and it's on the side.
Oh yeah, I do that too. Like I unless I have spook and I'm trying to be fast, I go around to the side and play it safe all the time.
It is a little bit less quick, I suppose, to take this side, but it is safer. And for a no-hit run, sometimes safer is better than sorry.
And Iskarl is coming up to our second boss fight, Vort, and the Bandit's Knife is not going to be the most amazing choice. One of the reasons why the Bandit's Knife is so good, it's a very fast weapon, but it also does bleed buildup, and the bleed status can proc on these enemies, takes a significant chunk of health away from them. However, Vort is immune to bleed, so this is not going to be the most amazing choice. You're not going to have really amazing damage. Should still be a generally scripted fight. It's just unfortunate that early on, this is one of those bosses that it's not the best choice having the Bandit's Knife, but I'm sure he'll do fine with it.
Oh, Iskarl is quite skilled with the dagger, so I think he'll be fine. Bandit's Knife is one of my, if not my favorite weapon, so it's a true delight to see it being run today. Really, really, really nice, and nice to see it being showcased. Of course, there is also the quick step that comes with the Bandit's Knife.
Yeah, the weapon skill on the knife that allows you to dash, and one of the biggest benefits of that dash is it gives you a significant amount of iframes, more so than a regular roll, and it can be quite useful. So Iskarl made quick work of Vort. Square is in the fight now.
Square is using a dagger for Vort.
Oh, indeed he is. Actually, that's not a bad idea. A lot of times what happens when you get Vort's health down to a certain amount, he does a scripted charge after phase transition, and at the end of that, you can stagger his head and take a riposte. And the regular dagger, which Square is using, has a very high critical damage value, which means it does extra damage on ripostes and backstab. So this really is not a bad choice at all. And a lot of times runners would use something like the short sword or even the broadsword, but there can be some goofy memes with trying to get the stagger with those weapons.
There we go.
And there you go. Very clean.
Yeah. GG to Iskarl and GG to Square, beating Vort and still hitless.
Nice. And Iskarl is at the beginning of Undead Settlement, another area, like, you get through High Wall, you get through Vort, but Undead Settlement has its own issues, too. Nice aim there.
Do we have some downtime to talk about the big dono goal we're about to announce?
Absolutely, go for it.
Alrighty,
All right,
so
chat. Hope that's gonna go for it. You got this.
So right now we are at $12,375 donated to the American Heart Association. If we hit $15,000, we are going to unlock the sixth game of this amazing relay race, which is going to be Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and it is an all memories, no hit run. And I believe I'm going to butcher these names. Please forgive me in advance, but how do you say that? El Capti and Croax. So if you want to see those, all right, all you have to do is click that purple donate to charity button and follow the steps to donate, and you will get that unlocked for us.
Let's go, chat. I believe. All right. And there is a rumor floating around in chat that there is a $1 donation train hyping up. Okay. Last night we broke the Twitch chat and we broke the Twitch charity tool. I'm not joking. If you weren't there last night, the dono trains were off the walls. Okay. $1 donation. Let's get it started, chat. All aboard the train. Let's go.
And I'll be honest, chat, there's some people already beating you to the best seats in the house for that train. We got Make Leander who donated $1, and then, is it Petilindos? No, it's one of the Hitless add-ons. They have bought 2 tickets to the hype train, so y'all gotta keep pace with them. Get those donations in.
Absolutely. Make sure to get involved with the donations, guys. It's all for a good cause. We've done an amazing job this whole weekend, so do what you can, and thank you so much for being here. Unfortunately, a moment ago, Iskarl did take a couple of hits. These Farmer John enemies at the beginning of Undead Settlement can be pretty nasty, and he took a very unfortunate death. He recovered pretty well, though, got back to where he is. He did have to use an Alluring Skull to get through some of those enemies. Hopefully that doesn't impact anything later in the route, but a couple of hits early on, unfortunately, for Iskarl.
Yes, it was quite a shame, and you're right. That particular stretch where he did unfortunately take those hits, those enemies are blocking the way, and I think they are how do you say this? A dilemma to many a speedrunner, because those
They're
guys
a menace.
those two in particular.
They get in the way, especially if you're trying to be fast. They are such a pain. Just getting through them is so annoying. There are different ways to do it, but when you're trying to be fast and, if nerves are on your mind and stuff, they can just ruin your day. And unfortunately, that's sort of what happened here. So it is what it is. Got plenty of run left. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. There is still plenty of, like you said, run to go. Plenty of Dark Souls 3 to go. Can't complain there.
Iskarl picking up an undead bone shard, so he's looking to improve his healing from his Estus flask, and I believe that's because he'll probably be using Hidden Body on this run. And I think that's something that'll be different between these two runners. Iskarl is going to be using Hidden Body, and Square will only be using Spook, but both of those are very useful for stealth or for preventing fall damage and being able to get through these running sections a bit more easily. And that's something in this game that is very challenging compared to some other games. The running sections and the boss fights too are both quite challenging, but especially the running sections, using some of those extra tools to make things simpler goes a long way.
Absolutely, and upgrading his Estus flask can also help. I don't know how much he will be utilizing it, but I personally do it a lot, which is the quick step. To the FP pool for the quick step is going to be improved a little there, although it doesn't use very much FP to begin with. But absolutely, the running sections in Dark Souls 3 can be quite tricky. There are a ton of mobs after you, but there are a lot of tools in the game that can help you out, like we saw in the beginning. I believe, I apologize, I didn't see what Square picked for the starting gift here. I think the standard is to go for the white branch.
Yeah, the young white branch. I'm pretty sure both of them picked the young white branch, which the running section a moment ago, there were arrows raining down. There's a giant on a tower nearby, but having that special young white branch makes you immune to those arrows. They won't damage you, and I'm pretty sure both runners took that, which is a smart move. So Square is making his way down toward Road of Sacrifices. We'll see if he just continues forward. He may turn back and go back to Upper Undead Settlement to pick up a couple of rings that could be very beneficial on this run. Oh, and this Outrider Knight right here can be such a menace too, but well done avoiding the attacks.
Yes.
Well done there.
And yes,
like
because to time the dodges on
Yeah.
that guy, because you don't know what moves he'll pull out. He has a variety that he can pick from.
There's a fast RNG that you really hope for, and it's very easy to deal with, and that was not at all what he got, but he did a good job of dealing with it.
I see some donations coming in. The train is about to leave the station. Now is the time to get on board. $1 dono train is going strong. Can we keep it coming, chat? We are only $7 away from 12.4K. $7 more, chat. We got this. We are going for 15K raised. And Aska, do you want to read off some of these dollar donations? I'm loving it, chat. Keep it up.
We've got so many tickets purchased. It's amazing. New Bag is pretty much bringing everybody with them with their donations. We have Armed and Legged, Faladrin, Jay the Helmet, Elsman, Duden2, Tiger Lilia, Sisix03. All of you have been so amazingly generous to the American Heart Association. Keep that train going, friends.
Let's go, chat. Good job.
Fantastic.
Go, Chad.
And it looks like Square is just making his way forward through through Road of Sacrifices. And let's see what Iskarl does, if he does the same thing or if he goes back to get some rings.
Yeah, there are 2 rings that would be really, really helpful, especially because you generally don't wear armor when you're doing no hit. And one is Flynn's ring, if I'm not mistaken, and one is the Chloranthy.
That is correct. Yeah,
Sorry,
Flynn's
yes.
ring gives you bonus damage when you have a lower equip load. So us not needing to wear armor on a no hit run is very beneficial. We can boost our damage pretty significantly. The less you're wearing, the higher the damage bonus. So that's a pretty valuable ring to have. And Chloranthy ring increases your stamina recovery rate. That green bar in the top left, that's always getting used when you're running, attacking. The recovery rate on that being increased by Chloranthy is quite nice. And Square indeed is back at high wall. I think he's planning to get the broadsword now.
Yes, the broadsword is a wonderful weapon. Great moveset on it. Really, really good utility. Really useful for SL1 as well.
Yeah, that is indeed the sort of meta weapon for SL1 runs, is to use the broadsword with a raw infusion. The raw infusion just increases the base damage of the weapon, since the scaling isn't going to be all that good when you're not leveling your character. And indeed, he did pick up the broadsword. Is he also going over... He's getting the cell key so that he can go unlock Grey Rat, which he's going to use for some shopping in a little bit, too.
Yes, we may see him use the bandit knife potentially, because that's something that Grey Rat sells to you if you rescue him.
This is a really slick strat that he's using right here, throwing a skull and backstepping down, using a homeward bone to get out before the enemies aggroed him. That was slick right there. Very nicely done.
Very, very nicely done. Lots of precision and skill in that move, those multiple moves in one, really. Although it does use a skull, so we're going to see, I'm interested to see how he manages his skull before the later part of the game when you can buy skulls.
And I did notice that since Iskarl had to use an extra skull from that unfortunate death earlier, he went and picked up the extra 3 skulls that are in Undead Settlement by a couple of dogs. And I don't know if he was initially planning on that, or if he went and picked those up as extra because of that extra skull that he used. But it was a smart move to go for that.
Yes, absolutely. It's always useful to have more skulls up until a certain point. I don't know if either of the runners will be unlocking the so-called unlimited skull purchasing power later towards the game, but until then the skulls are very much limited, so it will be it's always a case of management, how you use them, where you use them.
I would expect maybe Square to unlock patches being the merchant that sells you an unlimited number of alluring skulls, because Iskarl is going to be using Hidden Body. He may not need as many skulls, but Square will not be using that spell, so he may need the extra tools for that. So I would imagine if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Square, but we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will wait and see. But skulls are really, really useful. I didn't understand how to use them when I did my first playthrough, and then once I finally realized what they did, I was like, oh man, this is...
Yeah, they're incredibly useful tools. Yeah, they distract the attention of enemies for a limited amount of time. It only lasts for about 4 seconds, but you can pick up a decent number of them early on, and eventually, under the right conditions, purchase an unlimited number of them, and they're very useful throughout the entire playthrough. So they're very much worth getting if you need them. And as I was saying, Iskarl may not need them because he'll be using Hidden Body. Both of our runners are very close together, starting to go through Fair and Keep.
Fair and Keep,
and yeah, some people really don't like this area. I know there's a bit of setup to go through here, and I guess some people really don't enjoy this area, but I find it pretty chill. It's not too bad for me.
I agree with you. I think it's actually quite a chill part of the run, because you've just gotten through High Wall and Undead Settlement, which is quite intense. Fair and Keep looks intimidating because it's this giant poison swamp, and it's filled with quite a few...
Classic poison swamp.
Yep,
Thanks,
classic.
Miyazaki. Yep.
Real quick, chat. Congratulations, chat. We just hit 12.4K. Those dollar donos are doing work. Let's go, chat. Let's keep it going. 12.5K is on the horizon. $97 away from 12.5K. I can smell it, chat. And the train is coming back later, so keep an eye on the comms. We will let you know when the dono train is back, all right? It left the station. You had your chance, but keep them coming. I smell it. Let's go. 12.5K, $97.
Nice.
GG, chat. GG.
Congrats, guys. Thanks so much for all the support today. Let's keep it up.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. So,
and both of our runners doing backwards Fair and Keep. There's a faster way by going straight through the middle and coming back. for the things you need. But this is a much safer route that you're going to see on most no-hit runs.
This is a very familiar route that if you watch a lot of DS3 runs, this is what you'll see. And again, I do have to second and agree again that this is a very chill part of the run, because once you've learned it, it's kind of set in. It's almost like you can be on autopilot. If you're a streamer, you're going to chill with chat and just talk a little bit. And just pick up items. It's mainly to pick up a lot of shards to upgrade your weapons. This is mostly where you'll get the bulk of your Titanite shards to get your weapon to +4, I believe.
Yeah, you can get your weapon to +3 with regular Titanite shards, and then there's a couple of large Titanite shards to increase it to +4, and you can get enough shards to do that naturally without having to purchase any. There are plenty available, so there are good paths to pick all 12 regular shards and the 2 large shards up above. So we'll see if our runners are only going to go to +3 or +4. I imagine both of them would be going to +4, but we'll see what happens.
Real quick, there's some confusion in chat. I just realized in chat that it is blue on the team blue is on the right, but there's a red character, and then we have the red team on the left of the blue character. This was not planned, chat, okay? The runners are trolling us. Do not fall for the bait. All right, Team Hob is on the left, and Team Dino is on the right. All right, chat? I'm colorblind, so I'm not the one who should be making this announcement. However, I can tell you right now that we have been baited, all right? Don't fall for it. But let's keep those donuts coming.
Very tricksy, very tricksy. I see how it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's a cheeky DS3 run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we have... no.
I think Iskaralpust just died to poison. You get poisoned as you're going through part of this swamp, and I guess he didn't heal at a certain point.
Yes, so I was actually about to bring that up right before the kind of color-coded announcement. So I was looking at Iskaral's health bar, and one of the big things that can catch you here, even though it's a very chill section, if you don't heal, because the poison is ticking away, and I think if you run DS3 so much, or any game so much, you start to kind of switch off in these so-called chill sections, right? So you start to not pay attention to things, and I think, unfortunately, that is what caught Iskaralp there. But
yeah, that's
again,
very unfortunate. So he ended up... He has the Keep Ruins bonfire, but he went back to the Crucifixion Woods bonfire, and I'm not... I think he needs to go pick up the final couple of Titanite shards, and he doesn't want to run through from the Keep Ruins bonfire. It's safer to go here. He just needs to get down the ladder and then go run and pick up those final couple items, I think is what he's doing now.
Yes, because now a lot of the mobs, I imagine, have reset, so I think this might be a clearer way to sort of reset himself as well, along with the resetted mobs.
The only thing is he probably is going to want to get his souls back, and they're going to be near the spot where he died, so I don't know how he's going to handle that. We'll see what happens here.
I think his souls are in a relatively safe spot. They're in the last sort of lamp thing that you have to light up or unlight. And
yeah, there are a couple enemies around there, if I'm remembering right, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here. That was... I think very unexpected, but that can happen. Just a minor lapse in concentration or whatever, and all of a sudden you're in a very unfortunate situation here.
It is, yeah. And the pressure is high. The pressure is high. And Square.
Square just got hit by the frost breath of the Outrider Knight.
That cheeky Outrider. Oh my days. That breath attack. You have to be patient with it, because the hitbox, it does have a linger as well. So you do have to wait it out a little bit and stand to the side if he does that. And as I was saying, the pressure is on, because you're trying to go as fast as possible. And for me, going fast is not a very comfortable state of being, personally.
Yeah.
So
that's unfortunate. So
it is.
Both of our runners have taken a hit, and it just, that can happen so easily in Dark Souls 3. There's so many little things to be aware of. And yeah, just a small lack of patience on that little breath attack, and all of a sudden is just a very unfortunate hit.
It really is unfortunate, yes. And you're right, there are a ton of things, as we've mentioned earlier. The running sections in Dark Souls 3 are very, very tricky. You do have to have I think generally having notes is really great if you decide you want to run Dark Souls 3 even in any percent, because everything that we have seen the runners do so far is essentially in the any percent build. Of course, depending on what kind of run you're going for, but this isn't even the all bosses or all main game bosses segment yet. And just in the any percent alone, it can already be quite tricky. Not to mention the end game boss that is, we will get to that, I'm sure, but the end game boss at the any percent is also a very tricky one as well. So it's a really, really lovely challenge. It's a really lovely run, and that's why I enjoy it so much. And then we have the square going past those two witch ladies. I think they're called the evangelists, right?
Evangelicals or something, yeah.
Yeah, those two can be tricky as well. You want to not, he did really well by not hugging the wall there, because you can get absolutely smashed through the wall. They're cheating, those two enemies.
Iskarl is nice. He just did tree skip in Firelink, and he picked up a couple of homeward bones, and he's going up here. Oh, okay, so he dropped down. I guess he's getting something else. In the meantime, actually what Square did was very nice. He went up to Upper Undead Settlement, and he picked up the two rings that we mentioned previously, Flynn's ring and Chloranthe ring, and now he's entering the Curse-Rotted Greatwood fight.
Yeah.
This is a fight that a lot of times people would save for later, but with the setup that he has now, this should actually be a pretty manageable fight. Should be able to take care of it early, get some good souls out of it.
Yeah, a skull.
Yeah, using a skull to deal with the mobs, which is pretty smart here. And so the tree should be initiating phase 2 shortly.
Yeah, that is.
This fight can be absolute chaos. I cannot emphasize how much I dislike this fight. There's so many things that could go wrong with this fight.
It's a lot of things. He can have a poison AoE on the ground, which you can barely see, and that's one of my biggest peeves about this fight. This fight, a lot of people meme on, because I think once you're geared and higher level, it doesn't seem like too big of a deal. But if you've not tried it, try this fight on low level, like SL1 with no upgrades.
or don't, and just trust us. It's bad. It gets rough. But Square did a fantastic job. He got through the fight, and it's nice to get that out of the way early, just so it's done and over with. But that was also very efficient, going up to Upper Undead Settlement, and then you can drop down, and you're basically right at the entrance of the boss arena. So that was a nice, efficient way of dealing with this boss early.
Yeah, very smooth routing there. It's not one that I see often, because like I said, I generally like to deal with Greatwood when I'm a little bit more geared, so that it's a little bit of a quicker and, in that sense, safer fight. Because the quicker you can make a fight, in a way, the safer it will be, right? Because
especially a fight like that where so many things can go wrong. Going in with higher damage just eliminates some of the nonsense. So it was maybe a little bit of a risky play, but I like it. I like getting that guy out of the way early. And right now, so Square is heading to Abyss Watchers, while Iskarl is heading over, I believe, to Crystal Sage. So we're seeing a bit of different routing by both of these runners, which I enjoy seeing. I like seeing different ways of doing sort of the same thing. So we'll see how it goes here.
Yes, absolutely. I think with any of the runs, it's not just Dark Souls 3, like just any game when you do a run, whether it's hitless or, a speed run, it's always interesting to see the different types of tech and the different routes people take and the different kind of thought processes behind it. Really nice and really fun. As a runner, it's really fun to try to optimize a run as well. So it's lovely to see. Yeah, I think that's one of the most fun parts.
Yeah, routing a run and optimizing a run, getting it to the point where you're comfortable to actually go for it can be very enjoyable. Actually going for a run, the grind is a grind, but there's a lot of things you can do before that are very enjoyable.
It is.
Square is in the Abyss Watchers fight now.
Yes.
And Iskarl is entering the Crystal Sage fight, side-by-side action.
Exciting. This is a really exciting showcase because we have the timing lining up so well. Iskarl is gonna. My days.
Iskarl took a hit on Sage.
Yeah, that's Sage because of I believe the elevation got him there actually. Because
I missed what was happening there. Yeah.
So what I think we're watching both at the same, because it's two different fights. But from what I could see, Iskarl he's using the parry strat for Sage, which is a really, really good strat, but can be risky for reasons like this. Because I believe he was just 1 or 2 steps down on those stairs right in front of Sage, and From what I saw, the parry timing looked like it would have landed, but it just like kind of went over his head almost, went over his shield. So,
See,
and that is unfortunate. And now we have, but GG, Iskaralpust getting past Crystal Sage, easy
nice,
peasy.
nice. In the
because
meantime,
he's
here,
quite-
Square and the Abyss Watcher fight, it was hard to mention it. There was so much going on. But he started off by going to the back of the arena, and there's a nice strat where you can kind of keep the main Watcher at the back of the arena, and if you're able to do it right, the other two Watchers will never spawn in, and he's using throw-in knives. Every time he throws one, it should force the main Watcher to input read him and react. And what he's doing it right now in phase 2, using the throwing knives and baiting out this rolling slam attack. He was doing the same thing in phase 1, but it eventually just didn't work out right. And unfortunately, it can kind of fail depending on what happens. But now he just has to fight phase 2 sort of straight up.
Yeah. Oh, that looked a little bit close with that fire sweep there. But really nice strafing and really nice work, like you said, using the tools to kind of work with the AI that's in the fight. Because the Abyss Watchers is another, I think, quite tricky fight for a lot of people, especially first-time new players to Dark Souls 3, because you're having 3 bosses just in the first phase alone. Arguably,
Yeah.
the second phase is a little bit more straightforward because you're just dealing with the one, but you do have that fire damage that you have to look out for. Lots of lingering hitboxes, and GG to Square
Definitely.
taking down
Yeah,
the
GG. That was a good
Abyss Watchers.
fight. Yeah,
That was
phase
very
2 of
good.
Abyss Watchers is really fun. Phase 1 can be a bit chaotic with 3 of them at once. And even though you have a decent sized arena, they can sort of pinch you in a corner sometimes. But Square did a good job of dealing with the fight there. And he is moving through the catacombs while Iskaralpust, I would assume he's going back to do the cathedral running section here. So we do have a bit of running time if we want to catch up on some donations.
Oh, absolutely. We still have plenty of people getting that $1 donation train going. True Sestra has donated $1. Stakest Guile is bringing themselves and 4 of their friends with a $5 donation. And Zirconet has also bought $1 ticket to the donation train. Thank you so much for those amazing, generous donations. And as a reminder, these donations are going towards the American Heart Association, where 40, just as a general point, 40% of adults are at higher risk of cardiovascular disease because of things like stress, poor sleep, and decreased mental health. The American Heart Association has funded over $5 billion in research, creating new treatments like the artificial heart valve, CPR standards, and the pacemaker. So all you have to do is click that purple donate to charity button underneath this screen right now and
Let's
put
go.
those donations towards it. We're at $12,412 for this amazing cause. So keep it up, friends. Let's hit that 15K goal.
We got this, chat. $88 to 12.5K. All right, I can smell it. I think someone was trying to get a dono train going, and then it fell off a bit. So let's keep the support up, chat. Let's help our fellow Team Hitless members get this train off the rails. All right, we got this. Keep it up. Good job, chat. Let's go. Oh, we just got another dono. Quick. Asuka, the hype is getting real.
Yeah,
okay?
there are plenty of people going in. $25 from Flying on the Wall. Thank you so much for that awesome donation. All of you are so generous.
Let's go, chat. We are so much. Actually, what is going on? Wait, we hit 12.5. Did I miss something?
Yeah, we hit 12.5. The train's in full speed. We're in
chat.
hitless bullet train status. Let's go.
I don't want to say slow down, but how did we hit 12.5 in a blink of an eye? All right, we are on pace to 12.6K now. And if I could do the quick maths, that looks to be $63 from 12.6K. Keep it up. Well done, everyone. Back to the commentators.
Very nice. Thank you guys so much for the support. We see on the right, or we see Square in the Wolnir fight. This guy, oh man, this guy could cause me some painful memories, but very, very well dealt with there. Nice, good damage, a good quick fight, no nonsense.
Yes, GG to Square, and Iskaralpust is headed to the cathedral. Very, very tricky running section, but Volnir, another one like Greatwood, is one that gets memed on, but also not one to be messed with, I think.
Yeah, do not underestimate Wolnir. It should go fine. Like, the fight should be controllable, but there's so many things that can go wrong. And I've seen some bizarre behavior. But we're also seeing Iskaralpust putting hidden body to good use here in the cathedral running section, which is very nice. He doesn't have to burn a whole bunch of alluring skulls like you typically would on most routes. And Hidden Body, it's incredibly strong. There's a reason why runners did not want to use it for a long time, but honestly, it's made the running sections so much simpler and more consistent nowadays. It's no wonder why people use it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really good tool to have, and it saves you the resources, like you said. So it also, in a sense, it saves you time in some way. Another way to kind of look at your run and your route and think about how you want to modify it, whether you're using Hidden Body or not. Yeah, a bit of a trade-off.
Do you want to use skulls that cost a significant amount of money, or do you want to do the investment in Hidden Body and Spook and the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring? And that allows you to get through running sections pretty simply as well. It's just a different way of doing it. It really comes down to preference for people.
Yeah,
Chat,
absolutely.
we've got a couple more donos we'd like to read. Asuka.
All right, we've got $5 from License, $100 from Serboggit, and $25 from Valaramek. Thank you so much for your charitable generosity.
Thank you. And we are just 30. Am I doing my math right? $23, chat. $23 from 12.6K. We are on pace to unlock Sekiro Shadows Die Twice bonus game later tonight. Let's keep it up, chat. 12.6K is right there. $23.
We're seeing some interesting tech here from Iskaral. He's using Quick Step and fighting the giant inside the cathedral. A lot of times people would fight the giant on a higher ledge right up there, that sort of round ledge.
Yes, yeah.
But this was very recently found by JNZ as he was working on a run recently, and he found that you can actually deal with the giant right in that spot, which was really convenient. So I'm actually glad to see new tech being shown off in these runs. It's very cool to see.
It is very cool to see. That's actually the first time I'm seeing it for myself as well, to fight the giant in that spot. And it does actually look like it's a little more speedy, because the giant seems to...
It could be.
I think it, or at least to me, this is kind of fresh in my mind of seeing it for the first time, but it looks like the giant doesn't really take breaks in between. Does that make sense? Because if you fight him on that balcony... Yeah, he just keeps doing the
same attack, the same single attack like over and over, whereas on the other round balcony, there's a couple different attacks he can do, and he can sort of stall a little bit. But it was a great demonstration of using the quick step iframes to safely get into position and punish effectively. So that was great by Iskaral. I was really glad to see that. And we now see Square in the Crystal Sage fight. So he's doing something a bit different than what Iskaral was doing. He's using the crystal patterns on the ground to know exactly where Crystal Sage will spawn, and he gets in place preemptively so that he can deal with Sage before anything happens. So very cool tech being shown here.
Yes, and again, really, really nice to see the two different techniques from these two runners. Very, very different, but both equally cool, because that strat, the one that Square was using, does require a little bit of knowledge and homework beforehand. You do have to study and know what crystal patterns are. You have to be like almost like that, crystal ball reader, like a crystal reader.
It seems intimidating. It seems intimidating learning these crystal patterns, but there's actually a few very simple rules. Once you wrap your head around it, then all of a sudden the fight becomes very manageable, no matter how much damage you have. You can go in there with a broken dagger and do that fight consistently that way. It's very nice.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a little bit, in a way, less risky than the parries, because as we can see, sometimes it's not even your parry timing, but just the elevation that you're on may affect your parries on Crystal Sage. Yeah, so like you said, even with a broken straight sword, no upgrades, I'm sure just by doing the crystal reading, you'd be able to have a very comfortable Crystal Sage fight, because that fight can get quite scary in phase 2 if you let her kind of do her thing.
It definitely can. And we did see Iskaral actually did what he needed to do to unlock patches. It looked like he just ran up a platform and then boned out when he was at the top, using a homeward bone to return to a previous checkpoint. But actually what he did there was crossed a certain threshold that moves Patches, the merchant, into Firelink Shrine. So that merchant will be available later to purchase skulls. So he will be getting skulls, it seems. So even with Hidden Body, it can still be useful to have those skulls in certain situations.
Yes, absolutely, because it's still a different sort of tool, a different type of interaction within the game itself. So I think still having the access to the skulls. Oh, Ooh, and
That was
Square.
scary.
Oh my days! That
Getting pinched between those two hollows there. Oh, this is why Cathedral running section is so scary. Everybody hates this running section for a good reason, because it's terrifying. There's so many little things that can happen there. That's really rare for something like that to happen, but he was ready for it. He managed to pull it off perfectly and got through without getting hit. So well done dealing with. That was scary. That was very scary
as well. Yes, and that he had a hard landing earlier as well, right then before right in front of the crossbows. Again, Cathedral running section is probably one of the more complex running sections in my opinion, because there are so many things to kind of manage here. Even in this part here, there is one of those thralls that can come chasing after you if you're not careful, if you're not positioned right. It's quite a precise one.
Even right there.
The timing.
Around in the corner with the enemy falling. Like, there's so many scary moments in this area. It's wild.
Yes, because a stagger is going to. Well done indeed. Yeah, a stagger is going to count as a hit as well, right? So even if he doesn't
damage
take
or
damage,
stagger, right?
Yep.
So we sort of have both runners catching up to each other. Square is catching up on the Cathedral running section, while Iskaral is catching up on the Abyss Watchers fight right now. So both different routes, but they're pretty close in terms of progression and whatnot.
Yes, absolutely. And Iskaral is going to be able to sort of benefit, I think, a little bit from the backstab damage of the bandit knife here for the Abyss Watcher fight, which is
quite true.
I think.
Yeah. The daggers actually do a pretty good amount of damage. Like when you get them upgraded to +3 or +4 early on, the damage early on is quite impressive actually, and it does tend to fall off later into the run. But the backstabs are doing pretty good damage here.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and to showcase daggers a bit more, what Square's doing here, he did not take out the giant in the cathedral. So
nice. He just ran through as opposed to killing it. Yeah,
he did.
But he's using quick step to use the iframes to get through when he needed to. Very nicely done.
Yes, very much so. So you can see how he used the daggers are wonderful weapons. If you haven't tried a dagger run, chat, I highly recommend it.
They can be good utility with the quick step. The critical damage can be quite good. Just the base damage itself is not always that impressive, but you can make do with it. And the range, the reach against certain enemies can be a little rough at times, but still quite good. This is why Iskarl has been working on Soul level 1, all bosses, daggers only, no hit. So he's using a variety of daggers in that run and still at level 1. But they're a good weapon class for sure.
Absolutely. They're a wonderful weapon class with a lot of utility. I know the reach is, yes, indeed, a little bit lacking compared to some other weapons. However, again, to DS3's point of having so many different movesets, you can test it out for yourself, one-handed, two-handed. Iskaral sorry, I'm just watching this amazing Abyss Watcher phase 2 here with some very, very nice strafing going on with Iskaral's screen here.
Good punishes too, good aggressive punishes there.
And now we have Square, I think, going to trigger the patches load.
Indeed. He did the exact same thing, unlock patches. For the longest time, we had this misunderstanding that you had to run all the way to Rosaria's chamber, and that's not true. They're able to use a homeward bone right there, get out, and that's enough to trigger patches to move to Firelink. So that's a nice bit of running that we were able to cut out. The rafters in the cathedral are another scary area that you don't want to deal with if it's unnecessary.
Yes, absolutely. Bless the people who found the tech to just have it at that point instead of having to go all the way to Rosaria. And we have both runners not having to reset Cathedral, actually, which is really, really nice. Because when you reset Cathedral, a whole bunch of things happen. The mobs all kind of go back to where they were. So it complicates it. It can potentially complicate things a little. So it's now we have Iskaral going into the catacombs, and I think Square's loading up patches right here. And
Iskaral, he is going to unlock patches so he can buy those alluring skulls, and Iskaral is making his way through catacombs, and I still see the donation train going a bit still. Let's keep it up, guys. I know the support has been fantastic this whole weekend, but we can keep on pushing. Let's get to that 15K mark today.
And I'll be honest, there are some people that are getting heckin' creative with these donations. We've got Ilkalel, who's donated 2 separate times, one at $7.89 and another at $8.99. Newtbang also rose up to the challenge, 1-3 shy of lead, but $1.37 going towards the American Heart Association. Keep up those amazing donations. Again, we are on pace to get to 13K in no time. And after that, we need to hit 15K, friends. Otherwise, we do not get Sekiro. And I am here to see Sekiro. I want to see that complete.
Right now, I want to see who is a Sekiro enjoyer, okay? Myself, I may not have finished the Sekiro run, but I routed it, chat, okay? I know a lot of people want me to get that run. Maybe I'll make a friendly bet, but I need to see those donos, chat. We are only $42 away from 12.7K, okay? I saw some people drumming up the dollar train, specifically Newt Bag. Let's help them out, okay, chat? $1. We can get this. 12.7K insights. Let's go.
I want to see and hear the cling clang. Let's get there.
Right?
Let's get there today.
Let's go.
We do want the cling clang. Cling clang is great. Thank you, chat, and thank you everyone for donating, supporting, being here. It's just a wonderful cause as well.
Nice. And Square is on his way to the Deacons fight. Another one. There's a few early bosses in this game that can be absolute menaces, and we were talking about it earlier. The Deacons are certainly one of them.
Yes.
And Square is doing something very smart. He's equipping his broadsword in his left hand, and he's doing that because he doesn't want to backstab the Deacons accidentally. You can only do that if your weapon is equipped in your right hand. If your weapon is in your left hand, you can effectively only do the regular light attack. No strong attacks, no critical attacks, nothing like that. So this is a way to prevent backstabs and make the fight more controllable. Very smart on his part.
Yes, absolutely agree. I have been absolutely a victim of the backstab memes.
Oh, they're so bad. Like, they just happen on the wrong Deacon. You're not even close to one, and you get turned and backstab something that's like 10 feet away from you. Yeah, it happens. So there's a good reason why he's equipping his weapon in his left hand here.
Yes, and this is quite scary looking because you can see him kind of getting, and the skull throw there. You can see him getting swarmed by all these Deacons, and it can get quite really, really spooky because of just how many they are, and they just keep coming. But here we see the use of the skulls. GG to Square.
Good use of skulls, good stamina management, well done. And in the meantime, we have Iskaral in the Wolnir fight, and I'm trying to remember, did he go down to, I think during some of the donation time, I think he went down to Smoldering Lake and got his weapon upgraded to +7. I think we might have missed that because there was a lot happening there. So he's doing a significant amount of damage, and that was a very clean Wolnir fight. Again, no problems. You'll love to see it.
To Iskaral. He did go down to the Smoldering Lake, and he also grabbed the ashes that will now yield him sorry, my brain is absolutely lagging. What's that? The bleed damage. The resin.
The Carthus Rouge. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Carthus Rouge. It's a fancy name. My brain can't cope. But yes, he grabbed the ashes
bleed
for
resin.
Carthus.
That's what we all know it.
The bleed resin. Yeah, the bleed damage, which is going to be absolutely juicy on the Bandit's Knife, especially for certain bosses where.
Oh, did he actually go down to? But he's going down to Smoldering Lake now. Maybe I have it backwards and Square went down there.
No, because I was going to. There was a lot happening, to be fair. Very generous things happening as well. But he did grab the Carthus Rouge because he was making very good use of Hidden Body. There is an enemy there that's quite intimidating near the Carthus Rouge pickup. Mm-hmm. And so he did make very good use of Hidden Body there. And to the point of the difference between Hidden Body and having access to skulls as well, the Deacons fight, of course. You want to have as many skulls as you can have in Deacons.
Yeah, I think I had it backwards. I think Square went down to Smoldering Lake earlier, and he is now making his way through Irithyll using a young white branch to become an environmental object. And this is a great form of stealth to sneak through this area without having to deal with these horrifying enemies. This area can be terrifying if you're trying to go through without using this kind of tech. So this is smart. A bit slow, but it's very safe, so it makes a lot of sense. And in the meantime, Iskaral is down in Smoldering Lake picking up some items. So very nice.
Yes, yeah. I think there is a strat that's much faster for Irithyll, in the sense of and we see Square breaking out of the branch here.
Oh, you can use multiple branches here. I think that's what he's doing. Yeah. So
just to kind of speed up that section. Yeah, because that little section can take a while if you stay in branch.
Yeah, that might even save more than that. It saves a significant amount of time if you're able to move up safely and use the second branch. That way you don't have to sit there and wait for a minute while the enemies patrol by you. Yeah, that's a good move. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's like a hybrid of the two different strats because there is a no bronze strat, but I think it's a little bit more precise. Oh, and we have another hybrid moment coming through here. And
he is there's a you can go over here safely on this platform. There's even a large shard down below that you can pick up for free if you want to. So he was making sure that there were some enemies that potentially were going to follow him, but they are no longer a threat. So yeah, this makes sense. Just a nice way to save a few seconds without having to wait so much.
Very cool to see. I've actually not seen people kind of mix the two strats together, so this is very nicely done by Square here.
And let's see.
Iskaralpust is in the lake again? Sorry, I'm having a bit of deja vu.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he boned back. I guess he got the Karthus sandworm killed, so he could pick up the stuff around there, and then
he could not be going for Old Demon King now.
Oh, did he get that enemy killed? I'm not sure why he boned back to the bonfire. Interesting. But in the meantime, Square is making his way through Irithyll. This section should be fine, but this little room with the half-invisible enemies can also be kind of annoying in some cases. I'm curious what he's doing here. He's going over and picking up a blood gem, so I think he's planning to infuse his bandit's knife with bleed later on in this run, which also means he'll have to pick up the profaned coal, which is not the easiest thing to do depending on your setup. So I'm curious how he's going to handle that.
Real quick.
Yeah,
we got some more donations to read, and I'm seeing a lot of activity in chat. I'm loving it. Asuka, let's do this.
Yeah, we had some amazing generosity from IMR Cynic, $20 from Hospital, a wonderful other $1.63 donation from Ilkelhel, $5 from Dangerous, $15 from Corey Danamitz. Thank you so much, everybody, for your generous donations. We are up to $12,673 for the American Heart Association.
Woo!
$27 away from hitting 12.7K. Absolutely
Let's go,
need to do
chat.
that.
12.7. We got this. We got this.
Exclamation point, donate in chat, find out information there. Otherwise, click that purple donate to charity button and follow the steps as prompted.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for the support today. Let's keep on pushing. We all know we can do it. Let's get there.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Let's get some clink clanks on.
So Square is making his way through Irithyll Dungeon here in a moment. This area, this is like an area that intimidates people a lot on a casual playthrough. And when you learn how to run through here fast, it's very nice. Like, it actually is very, very nice. But we'll be coming up to something called Dungeon Skip, which is a very close to lethal fall that it can go wrong, but I'm sure our runners will have no trouble here. It's very cool to see it on a run.
It is, and they are going to make use of, at least I can see Square is going to make use of Spook. Oh, and he is running through here, which is quite a brave move in my opinion anyway, because I usually tend to take a safer route with those jailers.
Yeah, it can be consistent if you know what you're doing there. He did a good job there.
Yeah, very clean lines by Square here, and here is the dungeon skip coming up that Bender mentioned. Yeah, you can see it's quite cool, and it saves you a ton of time, and it's also actually quite safe, and it's very, very consistent. So looks scary, but it's not.
Yeah.
There we
Looks
go.
scary,
and
but that was
very
very well done.
smoothly. That
Perfect.
was very, very well executed by Square there. And we have Iskaralpust, who might be doing the dance. Yes. Oh, wow. What an exciting boss. Yes, Dancer, one of my favorite bosses.
And with the Bandit's Knife, especially with the Karthus Rouge, bleed works very well on this boss. This is a fun fight. Like, this particular setup, I enjoy it a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. And he's using Quick Step to dash through some of the attacks, making good use of those iframes.
Yes, absolutely. You do have to be careful with Quick Step with Dancer, and
Look
only
at how
dodge.
fast this is going. That bleed is doing work.
Yes, absolutely melting Dancer here. Unfortunately, because I do love this boss, but you do want this fight to go as fast as possible, especially now that she's gone into phase 2, and you can see him. When I was mentioning the quick step, you want to only quick step either the end of a combo or a single move combo, I believe.
Oh, nice. Using that to dash through the AoE.
Yes.
Getting himself into position. Very nicely
done. GG, Iskaralpust. Dancer is down, which means Iskaralpust now has access to Titanite chunks and to upgrade his weapon even more, and he can
And
do.
Square is about to enter the Yorm fight.
Ooh.
So
Oh,
this is an
wow.
exciting one. I'm assuming he's going to use a Storm Ruler here. The Storm Ruler, probably the weapon that like everybody uses on their casual playthrough, and it is very, very good when you know how to use it right. There are some things you need to be aware of and some memes to avoid. Actually, quite a few memes, unfortunately. But with some experience and just good positioning in the arena, you can avoid those problems. So indeed, we do see him using the Storm Ruler, charging up the weapon skill, doing a good job just avoiding the attacks.
Yeah. Yorm has, for me personally, one of the trickier things when it comes to a no-hit run, which is the stomp. So it's
Yeah,
quite
the stomp comes out very fast. There we are.
So
Nice
there we
roll.
go. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to will
Almost
it into
scripted.
existence.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Square, but Square can handle it.
Yeah.
He's got this. Yeah, and he is making very good use of the Storm Ruler there, the weapon that is technically meant to be used for Yorm, right?
Oh, very nice.
Oh,
Going for the
nice
greedy
stagger
punish.
there. Yes.
The timing on that is a little tight, but it is consistent when you know what to look for. So very nicely done there. He's getting close to the end of that fight. And I believe Iskaral is actually about to enter the Osiris fight in a moment. We got a bit of a boss rush here.
Oh, yeah. These two are not holding back and just kind of rolling into one boss after the other, which is, I do think it is one thing about DS3. There are a couple running sections here and there, but most of them, apart from Cathedral, are relatively chill. Like you mentioned, Irithel Dungeon is actually all right. It's almost adjacent to, say, Farron Keep in a way. And once you learn it, it's very, very, very nice and easy to get through. But yeah, we're going to have an Osiris fight on our hands.
Absolutely. And he's going in with his Bandit's Knife is probably only upgraded to +7. But when you're using a weapon that does so much status, you don't need to worry so much about the weapon upgrade. You just want to make sure you have the right setup to get these bleed procs, and that does a lot of damage for you. So you could come back to this fight with +9 or +10. But with a weapon like this, as long as you're comfortable with the fight, it doesn't really matter what your weapon level is. But this fight, some people really do not enjoy it, and it's understandable. But I think this boss is fantastic. It's just the arena is horrible at times. And there are some memes like the instant charge. People don't like that, very understandably. But even that is manageable. So I'm an enjoyer of Osiris.
I am an enjoyer of Osiris, well, immensely so, actually. I do love Osiris. He is, I think there are a couple, I want to call them scripts that you can do. Like you can
There are.
Yeah, to the point of the arena, right? You can get him kind of put in a spot where he's behind a branch, and you can kind of work with that. It's a little bit tricky to set up, and I've personally never tried it, but I do think it's actually well worth learning Osiris and just fighting
Definitely.
him sort of straight up. He has even that spin move he just did there. There are actually two variants of that spin move, one of which you don't even have to roll if you're positioned
Yeah,
correctly.
you can just strafe it. It's pretty slick.
It's very,
he's
very
doing
slick
a
and
good
very
job here.
satisfying. He is doing an excellent job on Osiris. As someone who, he claims to be not an Osiris enjoyer, he's absolutely. Oh, there we go. That's the
There's
charge.
that insta charge. Well done.
Yeah, well done. Because the spacing that he had, brilliantly done, Osiris there. GG Iskaral on the Osiris fight. Very quick as well because of the bleed and the procs that are coming through.
And from one to another, Square is now entering the Pontiff fight. And this fight, I generally enjoy this fight. The phase 1 with parries is very enjoyable. Phase 2 with the clone, not so much. Oh, he's doing something really smart here. So I assume, well, I don't know for sure, but I don't know what his weapon upgrade is on the broadsword. He might only be +4 here, but what he did was he started off with the dagger, and I assume that was a +0 dagger, and that helps to set up the damage a little bit so that after he switches to the broadsword, it should be essentially scripted at this point. That was pretty good, actually.
Yes, very, very smart use of the critical damage that comes with, I believe all daggers would have that. So now we're going to have the scripted strat for Pontiff, which I think...
He did the thing where there's a very thin threshold where after he comes out of that AoE, if his health is at a certain point, he will continue doing attacks instead of summoning the clone. And he actually, I believe, deliberately did that. That was very smart.
That is. Yes, that is very, very
nice.
cool. Because I think if I'm not mistaken. I'm not particularly good. There we go, and the clone's out, but it does not come out in time. GG to Square. I don't
Never
know.
even saw the clone. Nice.
No, never even. Not even a chance, Pontiff. So I think he might not have had enough damage on hand to when Pontiff was transitioning, which is probably why he did that, to not have the clone be summoned. Very, very clever. And we have going to
Sorry, can we do a quick dodo?
Yes,
Go for it. Good time.
All right, chat, come here. Come close to the screen. I'm looking at this $12,723, and we've been dealing with a really awesome boss rush. I want to see a dono rush. One of my best friends in the chat put !donate in chat so we can tell everybody where to go to put those donations in. I want to see, by the end of this run, I want to see us dono rush to $13,000.
Oh, that's easy. We got this.
That is
chat.
100% easy, but we need to do it with your help. All of that money goes to the wonderful American Heart Association, and I want you to make my job hard because I want to keep reading all your names. You donate, I read your name. It works like that. We can be besties. Let's see that happen.
Let's go, chat. I believe. Let's do
Awesome.
this.
Yeah, let's go, guys.
Believe.
And we see Iskaral in the champion Gundyr fight. So we start the run by fighting Udex Gundyr, and now we have champion Gundyr, a more aggressive and at times very intimidating version of Gundyr, but very well done by Iskaral managing that fight there. And I do want to point out, the shield that he's using is the shield that his class starts with, which is a medium parry shield. A lot of times people very
My
strongly
days.
prefer...
Sorry, Square.
I saw that arrow. That was close on Square screen. But a lot of people will prefer using a small parry shield. The parry frames are a little bit different between small
Yes.
and medium shields. But Iskaral making good use of a medium parry shield, not bothering to pick up the small one. I kind of like it because you're just sticking with your starting equipment and making it work. And some people just straight up prefer medium shields for parrying. So it's kind of cool to see that. You don't always see that from runners.
Yes, I agree, and I actually just noticed that as well. Well, I did notice it he used it, I think, for Udex Gundyr as well, if I'm not mistaken, to parry.
Yeah, almost surely,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you would imagine.
Actually, now that you mention it, has Iskaral leveled up at all?
He did level dexterity a little bit earlier, but
Okay.
only a little bit. A lot of his souls early on in his run go to getting hidden body and spook and unlocking patches for skulls and black fire bombs and all that stuff. And again, with a weapon like this, it's not like the outright damage of the weapon. You're really going for those bleed procs that take a chunk of damage from the boss's health bar all at once. So the levels don't matter a huge amount early on, but he's got a bunch here, and I'm sure pretty soon, whenever he upgrades his weapon next, he'll dump a whole bunch of levels into dexterity and more into endurance for higher stamina and stuff like that. So he's been doing a good job with the build, just didn't really require a ton of levels early on.
Yeah, and it's a really nice showcase of skill. Both these runners are amazingly skilled in my book anyway, because they're doing lots of really cool things that aren't kind of the regular cookie cutter strat in a sense, right? And we're not seeing... I have nothing against Twin Blades. They are amazing because the damage, I think, is unmatched. But it's nice to see some different ways that you can handle a DS3 no-hit run.
And Square says he doesn't need levels at all, so he's just going to stay at level 1 the whole time, because who needs levels anyway?
Yeah, who needs them?
It is actually nice in this game because there are some stat boosting rings available throughout the game. It's not like Elden Ring where you can get a massive amount of stat boosting early on. They're a little bit more evenly distributed. You got to earn your way to get those and whatnot. So it's still possible to get some good stat boosting in this game, but it's just not as wild as it is in something like Elden Ring. So
Oh yes, I can imagine the stat boosts. And I mean, it varies across the different games, but I think it's more than. Oh, look at that nice jump there! By Square. Oh no!
There's a jump that you can do there. I'm not sure if he just didn't land on the railing or if maybe his timing was a little bit off, but
I thought that would have been fine.
Yeah, he was probably just a couple feet away from the safe spot. There's a spot there where you can land and not take any fall damage at all. And unfortunately, he just missed it. So he might have jumped slightly too early and jumped from slightly too high in that case. Been above like the 20 meters that
maybe
it is
just
for
one
lethal
or
fall
two
damage.
railings off.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I love going for this jump, but that is the risk of it, is that if it goes, it's kind of easy for it to go slightly wrong. So that is the risk, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll be no issue. He'll get into the Aldrich fight and do just fine. And yeah, here he did the jump
Here
just
we
fine
go.
on the second try.
Yeah. There we go.
So no
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, and it is a risk, but hey, you do save quite a bit by doing that jump, and of course it looks cool.
Yeah, it is
points.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now we see
yeah, we
Aldrich.
have Aldrich.
So this is not going to be scripted. It's possible to one cycle Aldrich when you have a +9 broadsword and you have red tearstone ring and all this stuff set up. That is not the setup that Square has right now. So he's going to have to fight phase 2, which is cool because that is a challenging fight to learn for phase 2. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles it.
Yes, me too. Aldrich can be quite precise in a way because there's a damage threshold, right, for him to transition. So you do have to keep track of where he's at. Although at SL1 or a lower level run, in a sense where you don't do as much damage and you have to deal with phase 2 anyway, then maybe it's not as key compared to, say, doing a run where you're skipping phase 2.
Right, yeah, and he is now in phase 2. You can see the added fire to the attack, so this can be a tricky one to dodge, but he's got good positioning, keeping the boss in the middle of the arena, keeping it away from pillars and whatnot. This is good stuff right now.
Yeah, very nice strafe as well there on that wide. Oh my days. There. So it's very exciting to watch, certainly. That was very close on that swipe there, but very well handled. The positioning and the distancing is just really, really precise and perfectly executed here.
Yeah, it's all about maintaining position against this boss. That's what the entire fight is about, is keeping good positioning, and he did a great job there. GG.
There we go. Easily done, Aldrich. Yes, did not see any arrow rain because of the positioning as well.
So, didn't Iskarl, I guess
patches?
he didn't unlock patches earlier. Oh, he sent him to Firelink Shrine, but he must have not done this part where you actually unlock him as a merchant. That's what I misunderstood. I see.
Right, yeah, I think that is the case. Yeah, I think he did the bit in the cathedral, and then I think he left this part to now because, if I'm not mistaken, apologies if my brain's all scrambly, but I think he is yet to fight deacons, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that might be true. Yeah, I believe you're right. That is right. So on his round, he's getting his weapon to +9. Deacons can be, we already said it earlier, they can be a bit of a menace. So he's got the bleed on his side, but getting this relatively low damage weapon upgraded highly before Deacons makes a lot of sense here. I don't disagree with the play at all. It can be a good move. Yeah, now he's getting a ton of levels of dexterity, some of endurance. Yeah, he's putting those souls to good use. And in the meantime, we see Square now fighting Dancer.
Yes, and again, Square spacing is just very, very exciting to watch. He's on the edge, and he just knows the positioning so well for so many of these fights.
Oh, nice stagger with the broadsword.
Nice stagger, yes. Oh, lovely dodges there.
Good strafe.
Yes.
Good fight. Very nice. And indeed, Iskarl is heading up to fight Deacons now, it looks like.
Ah, well, there you go. Here it is.
And I see we probably have some donations, and if we want to catch up on them, we may have a moment here.
All right, yeah. Stop me as soon as you need me to stop, but we've got quite a few people making me work for this. We are $20 away from 12.8K. Elsren has donated $70. Newtbag, you are super generous with your multiple donations, $5, $5, and $3. Le Carbonator with a $50 donation and a $25 donation. Holy heck and fluff. You all are super amazing and generous. And then we have a $5 donation from Max Trade and Sack. Thank you so much. All of those are going towards the American Heart Association. Please keep that generosity coming. Exclamation point donate in chat. Hit that pro button that says donate to charity.
Close.
We are
12.8K chat. $19, less than $20 chat. Let's get this going. 13K is right there. Let's hit 12.8K first. We got this.
Nice. And we see Iskarl now in the Deacon's fight doing the same thing, equipping his weapon in his left hand to avoid the backstabs. And there was a close moment at the beginning there. One of the Deacons did like an AoE, and maybe I didn't see it quite right, but it looked like it was a little close for comfort, but he got through.
Yes, again, the Deacon's fight can be quite scary if you don't kind of keep your eyes about you. There are so many units to kind of keep track of, and they kind of they have their own free will. They can do what
Just
they
keep
like.
track of like 30 or 35 of them at once. I don't really see the problem.
I mean, I got to hear
Yeah.
all of you wax poetic about the deacons before we went live. So I mean,
Our runners are making this look easy. They are doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, Iskarol and Square are handling the deacons just fine.
And Square are now entering the Osiris fight. So we
Osiris
saw
fight.
how well a bandit's knife worked. We'll see. I don't know. Is the broadsword has to be upgraded to like +6 now? I would imagine. Well, yeah, because he did kill Panov already, so he should have access to all the large shards he needs for upgrades.
Yes,
So
I think it
+6
would.
broadsword on Osiris. Not a lot of damage, but he's doing well so far.
He is, and the resin is coming in. You do want to Osiris, as much as I enjoy Osiris, you do want this fight to go down as quick as you can, especially on the challenge run, because
Yeah, having to stay in this fight for a long time is rough. It really is
and
rough.
you can see some shenanigans happening there with the mist and Square again with his exciting positioning. He's right on the cusp of that, I imagine. And here we can see Osiris is in phase 2, so Square has to be quite careful with his positioning again, though. He's showcased that he's very, very adept at putting himself in the right spot. And here he is sticking quite close to Osiris so that you can sort of preemptively prep for the how do you say, the charge? The insta
Yeah, the
charge that
insta
he
charge,
does too.
the infamous
Yes,
insta charge.
the infamous insta charge. There too, you can stick close and kind of preemptively roll, or you can do what Iskarol did, which is kind of be at a distance so that you can see it coming and have time to kind of deal with that situation. There
And
we
he's
go.
doing
The
a good
charge
job
went off there.
preemptively rolling the charge. That's the best way to deal with it. When you see him turn, you preemptively roll. You get your timing right, it's no problem. Nice job getting through the
Nice
fight
job. GG to Square. And we have Iskarol taking on Greatwood right now. And with quite a bit of damage, and Greatwood's just going to go down. No problem. There we go. GG.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to save this fight for later, like we were saying earlier. He came back with higher upgrades, and even though the bandit's knife may not be the best weapon against this boss, he was no problem at all. Well done.
Yes, well done. I really like what Square did earlier with his route, where it's a very smooth transition into Greatwood, because it's a little bit of a detour if you don't do him whilst you're in that vicinity, right? And here we have Square picking up actually an important item for this run. It's a gesture that's needed to access one of the bosses in the all vanilla bosses run, and all bosses runs in general.
Yeah, and Square picked up the gesture to get into Archdragon Peak, and it looks like Iskarol is going for Old Demon King. This weapon is not great against Old Demon King. He
No.
does not bleed. Very limited range on this weapon. This is one of those where it showcases, sticking with the single weapon for the entire run. It's a cool idea, but it's going to come with some challenges. And he did use the dark resin, human pine resin, which does dark damage. That's the best damage type against this boss. I believe against all demons, dark damage does really well, if I remember correct. But this is cool because Old Demon King, I think he's underappreciated. Like, he's actually pretty fun to fight for the most part. But in most runs, you're just going to show up here with fully upgraded twin blades and annihilate this boss before he can do a single attack, and you will never see his moveset. So I enjoy seeing actual fights with this boss.
I actually agree. He has a couple tricks up his sleeves, as much as he is. I mean, lore-wise, it's a little bit sad. Old Demon King.
So he canceled him out of the meteor attack, but got the stagger. This is kind of an awkward situation. It should be fine. You just needed to get away for a moment to let the meteors get out of the way,
and he's got one.
Gotta be careful of the little weapon
Yeah.
slam here. He knows what to do, though. Good move.
Yeah, he's
Nicely
sticking
managed,
far away.
nicely done.
Nicely done. GG, Iskarol, Old Demon King done. And we have Square on Champ. Using a
and he's
small
nice.
parry
He's
shield.
doing a parry and then a charged R2 before taking the riposte. So cool way of getting some extra damage in before taking the riposte. I like it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh yes, he parried the charge. Sorry, I love when people. It's such a satisfying parry. It's probably one of the most satisfying parries you can get in the game, in my opinion. And Champ, he is a really, really tough boss. He can be if you're not using parry strats. But once you learn everything that you can parry, he's actually quite manageable, and we can see there Square showing exactly that. GG to Square on Champion
It's
Gundyr.
really
done.
fun to learn how to parry Champ Gundyr because it's very satisfying. It does generally feel intuitive. There are a couple of attacks where the timing can be a little bit funny, but that's very satisfying to parry that boss, especially with all the trouble I know he gave me and many others on our first playthroughs. Totally worth it.
I was just about to say, I think on my first playthrough, I spent 5 hours on Champion Gundyr.
Yeah, and I know people have talked about, they use weapons with the endure weapon skill so they can just sort of stance through the attacks and keep on punishing. Like, that's a tough guy, very intimidating, very difficult on a first playthrough. But when you learn how to deal with him, very satisfying. And unlike what we saw with Square earlier, Iskaralpust is going to be using Hidden Body to get through Irithyll. And this is a great demonstration of just the variety between the two runs. We don't have to use a branch strat, which is very slow here. You can use Hidden Body with the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring, which mutes your footsteps, and you can just go through here. You can just cast, run, and you're through. Very nice. So another reason why people love using this spell nowadays, and very understandable. Why do we, torment ourselves with branches taking 2 or 3 minutes for years?
Because it's fun and you get to be a statue.
Yeah, well, that's true. You could be, the little ice cream grandpa or whatever you turn into, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There is that. But, I do like going fast sometimes. So I do enjoy seeing people just breeze through here nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. No, I can understand the use of Hidden Body, especially on a longer run like this one or an all bosses run, where for me personally, an all bosses SL1 takes about 6 hours. So
it can be. It depends on how you do it. It can be a long run, and that's a good point too. Is that there are some things that we choose to not do for the sake of time, but the longer a run is, the more it's justified to take that time, go do that little bit of setup, and help make the rest of the run more manageable. So it's a nice balance that we got here where we're doing all the base game bosses, and it does encourage us to do a little bit extra stuff to make the run more controllable.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just nice to have the choice to do it, right? Just to have that option. Especially for a longer run, I know we're not doing all bosses with DLC today, but towards the end of a run, even for this run, right? That's even the last boss that you have to get through to finish a run, which is Cinder. You want to have absolute mental stamina when it comes to that situation because, forget about the showcase. Just doing a run itself, your nerves are going to be high by then, right? If you're there at 0 hits, you just want to have everything that you can have to help you out. And so whatever you prefer, Hidden Body or Branch, that whatever comforts you in a run. I know that sounds weird in a no-hit run, but whatever is comforting in a no-hit run, you take it,
Ooh, and talking about comfort, DSA, one of my favorite fights in the game. Dragon Slayer armor, we see Square entering the fight right now. This is not always a comfy fight. I don't know why I said that. This fight can be kind of nerve-wracking, especially in Phase 2. But this is undoubtedly one of my favorite fights in this entire game. I love a good one-on-one with the armor.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very cool fight, I think, thematically as well, right? It just looks cool, feels cool. Yes.
It's just fun to fight. There's a lot of cool positioning tricks that you can do with this guy to bait out certain attacks and open up certain punish windows. It's really fun. The more time you spend on this fight, I think the more you enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, there's so many, look at that little strafe that he did as opposed to rolling. That means you can get a couple more attacks. And every strafe that you do as opposed to roll, look at that lovely strafe there. And this is Square doing it unlocked. And I know Iskaralpust has not fought DSA yet, but if I'm not mistaken, Iskaralpust should be doing this unlocked as well. Doing DSA unlocked is a little bit tricky to learn, but once you do learn it, the freedom of movement that you get in this fight, as you can see Squares just dancing around DSA here.
Yeah, definitely.
Is very, very satisfying to see and to do and to execute.
And we are now in Phase 2. This is where the butterflies flying on either side of the arena can do multiple attacks. Fighting the armor, that was close there. But that's what I'm saying. The butterflies make this fight scary. I can fight the armor all day, but when you've got the butterflies to manage in Phase 2, that's what really determines how good you are at this fight. How can you deal with the butterflies and their nonsense? And that was good there. It was just close. It was close timing, but well done.
It was, oh my days, that, I don't know why, but that dodge looked a little bit tight as well. And
it's when you get pinched between multiple attacks at once. When you got both butterflies, you're positioning in the arena, the walls can be broken so you can fall off the edge.
Yes.
And right now,
we have double butterflies for a moment there. Yep. And
This can be scary.
Oh my days. It's the meatballs. But they do have sound cues. So with DSA, you do want to learn if you're ever going to run this and kind of learn DSA. One big thing about the butterflies, as much as they're terrible to deal with, you do have sound cues. Oh, and that is a GG Square. Very, very
GG
exciting.
Square. Nicely
And
done.
Yes, very
GG.
nicely done.
We'd like to get in some donos real quick.
Go for
Chat. We are $40 away from 13K.
40.
Asuka, take it away.
Oh yeah, chat. Can we hit 13K before I finish saying these donations right now? Because I know we can. If you hit !donate, I'm going to give you a quick minute. We've got Newtbag, who is continuing the generosity with a combined total of $6 in donations. We have Le Carbonator with a donation of $19. Thank you so much. Kayak with a $25 donation, and Wise Frank not too far behind with $24.99. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, we've, again, $40 away from 13K. Chat, we need to hit this right now. Let's go.
13K.
We are very close. Let's get there, guys.
13K. Come on, we got this. 15K. Sekiro bonus run. Let's go, chat.
Let's go. I am very excited to see Iskaral's fight against Yorm here, because he's not using the Storm Ruler. He's doing Bandit Knife only. So fighting this boss with a dagger, the dagger range is terrible for this fight at times, but he's doing a great job using quick step, getting into position, using the iframes to dodge the attacks, and getting multiple punishes in, getting these staggers. This is really well done. He's definitely practiced this a lot, because this is not easy fighting this guy with a dagger and getting these staggers like this.
Yes, it is quite a challenge to fight Yorm with almost anything other than the double stomps on Yorm there.
Scary.
Sorry, that
Now,
was
at the
quite
same
scary.
time, I do want to interrupt for a second, because Square is using a very nice strat to pick up this profane coal. He used a young white branch to get into the room, get in position, and then kill the enemies guarding it. And that's something that I think is pretty new. A lot of times people don't go for that coal, but he did a good job there getting that. And we can go back to Iskaral's fight now.
Yeah, no, thanks for pointing that out. It's very good. And he's actually heading to Archdragon Peak. But back to, the stomp. I was going to say back to Iskaral's fight with
Yeah,
Yorm.
that stomp can get you. That's one of the scariest attacks right there. It comes out
That
very
is.
fast, and if you're not in the best spot, if your camera's a little goofy, you can get caught by that stomp. Luckily, it's only a stagger. He doesn't take damage from it, so he can continue the fight, but that is unfortunate. That happens to pretty much everybody at some point, though.
Yes, you have to go through the Yorm Stomp orientation when you're doing a no-hit run, I think. You just have to always be prepared for Yorm to do it. He's just going to pull it out, and as we can see, he
you
can
have to
pull out
expect
two
it.
in a row.
You have to expect it at pretty much all times, yeah.
Yep. GG to Iskaral, beating Yorm with the Bandit Knife only, and I agree.
Very
it's
nice.
A tough,
that is, again, that is not an easy fight. The Storm Ruler, you get used to it and it becomes a very comfy fight. So good job fighting with a weapon that has very limited damage and range, but well done. A little stomp incident here and there, but that happens to everybody at some point.
It happens to everyone, honestly. It's kind of just part of the DS3 run. But Iskaral honestly made it look very, very easy with the Bandit Knife, considering it's a little bit more difficult than Iskaral made it look, especially with such a short weapon, and it like you said, Bender, it does no damage to Yorm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
here we have
on the side, we see Square entering the Ancient Wyvern fight, and everybody probably remembers the first time running through the gauntlet and getting to the end where you can plunge on the head.
Gosh, yes.
But we don't do that here. So there's a nice little plunge cheese that you can do. Hopefully he'll be able to get it first try. It's not easy. It's easy to mess up. Nicely done. First try, very clean.
Very
you go and
clean.
run up on the edge of the stairs, and you do a running heavy attack, and that lunges you sort of forward, and you plunge the attack even though you're not in the normal spot for the plunge. So very well executed there.
Very, very well done. So smooth. But yes, the Ancient Wyvern fight can be that simple. You do just have to kind of learn and practice the timings and the positionings for that little plunge that you do, like a mini plunge. But now I
see where we are in the running section, but I see where we are in the donations too. Can we get some attention to that?
That is true. We just hit $13,000 raised for the American Heart Association, chat. Thank you so much for your donations. Oscar, you want to read a few off?
Sure, we have $3.33 from Anthem on TV. We have $50 from serboggit. We have $99 from Jody Constant and $5 from Derberga TV. All of you are so heckin' generous. Thank you so much. But we can't stop there, friends, because we still need to raise a total of $15,000. We are 2K away. And once we do that, we get all of the klings and all of the clangs, chat. I want to hear those. Let's go.
I want to see some Sekiro. And just so you know, chat, this is all memories. This is not just an any percent, okay? We know Sekiro can be done under an hour. No, this is going over 1 hour. We are going to see so many bosses. I cannot wait. Let's go, chat. $2,000 away. Less than $2,000 away. Let's go.
And in the meantime, Iskaral has entered the pawn of fight. This bandit knife is doing an obscene amount of damage here. I love seeing this.
It is.
Absolutely
it is.
shredded the boss right there. To shreds, you say.
Yeah.
And very, very clean. Oh, that was great. So as opposed to
GG.
the lower damage, having to manage it real carefully, getting it down to a certain spot and, you know, forcing him into a position where he had to do more attacks.
Square again. Sorry.
Yeah, that was close. But that was well done. It's good to see like the polar opposite that these runs offer sometimes. They're just doing very
Yes.
different things and very enjoyable either way. And
Yes.
what is Square going for right now?
Is he going for the chunks, the item
The
there?
ashes for them, right?
Yes, yes.
This-
so
this is scary to
this
do
is
without
very,
hidden body.
ooh, very precise here. Bone out quick here.
Oh,
There
that's
we go.
so scary, but he did it.
He did it again. Very tight execution there. There are multiple ways to handle that pickup.
That alone is a valid reason to go get hidden body. Like it makes that pickup so free. And when you choose to do it without hidden body, that is scary. It's tough to do that sometimes. Those enemies can catch up to you. You can
Yes.
maybe fumble your inputs a little bit when you're trying to run away and bone out at the same
Bone out,
time.
yes.
But no problems there. Nice and clean. Now he
Very
can purchase
clean lines.
unlimited Titanite chunks and Titanite scales. Why would he buy Titanite scales?
Is he using a magic weapon somewhere?
I don't think
Oh,
he's using
no,
magic,
not
but he
magic
has the
weapon.
Storm Ruler in his inventory, and that can be upgraded with
Oh.
Titanite scales. So not only do we have the broadsword and the bandit knife with a bleed resin, we also have the Storm Ruler, which can be used as a regular weapon. It's actually really good as a regular greatsword. It's fantastic.
It is. It is. It does a lot of. It does really decent damage. Does really good stagger damage.
So I
It's
like
actually a
seeing this
really good
variety
training
of
tool.
weapons in this run. This is great because like we were saying it earlier, the raw broadsword, that's the meta for SL1 runs, and it's okay, but it's just not necessarily the best weapon for many bosses. But here, he set himself up in a way where he has multiple choices, and he can just do whatever makes sense. And I really enjoy seeing that. That's fantastic.
I agree with you completely. We have he's coming up to the sage in the archive. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's not what
the
I'm thinking
archive
of.
stage. And
Archives,
this is
yes.
where, okay, Bandit's Knife, you don't even have to worry about it. The nice thing about having the bleed infusion is he doesn't have to worry about managing bleed resins anymore. He has good bleed build up simply because of the infusion of the weapon. So he can just go to town and bleed
Yep.
and done. Very nice.
Done. Yeah, this sage, if you do learn how to parry sage, then this sage is very, very much easy to deal with, as opposed to
Yeah.
having to. She won't teleport any longer, so you don't have to deal with that. And we have a nice roll there away from the candle guy. And I think Iskaral is actually heading off to Aldrich now, and we can see. Is he gonna do the balcony jump as well?
I wouldn't expect it, but let's see it. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Could be anything.
We could
So-
see. Oh, we have some hidden bodies, so maybe not.
Oh, maybe
Oh,
he is.
yes.
Oh, with
Oh,
hidden
wow.
body, they don't notice you. Oh, interesting.
Oh,
No, that's the thing is when you're running through there normally, you have Spook to help with any potential fall damage, unless you're jumping from too high and then it's, potentially game over. But there, you don't have to worry about those deacons that are throwing fireballs at you because Hidden Body gets rid of that threat there. So that was very smart. He did a cool jump, but he also minimized the risk in order to do that. Very nice.
Yes, very, very nicely done. And here we have I imagine, another Aldrich strat because he's not SL1 like Square
Right.
was.
So
yeah.
he's going to use a fire bundle. This actually makes sense. A lot of times you want to use bleed, so you would want to use the Carthus Rouge. But getting a bleed proc early on this guy can mess things up and do too much damage too quickly. You really want to control how much damage you're doing in phase one. So it was actually a good move to not use a bleed resin. Also just because of the RNG that Aldrich can give you, so he can stall really hard sometimes, and it messes with how much buildup you've done, how much it's resetting and stuff like that. So this is actually a good play where bleed may not be the best option. So I like the play, actually.
Absolutely agree. And a bundle's going to be buffed like a lot quicker as opposed to a resin because so it's
and much
nice
safer in this fight. You don't have time a lot of times to use a resin, but here we go. We'll see if he can one cycle Aldrich or if he has to deal with any bit of phase 2.
Yeah, we're going to see here. So this
this damage isn't amazing. Oh, he's close.
Almost. Okay.
Close.
So we're gonna get Aldrich on the other quadrant here, and again, where you stand at the end of. That's fine. That's actually a really good opener to have gotten, but he has to watch out for the fire on the ground here. But nicely handled. Well done. GG Iskaral. Aldrich is down. Nice and clean.
And he was ready. He had his homeward bone ready in case he needed to bone out of the fight. A lot of times, if you're trying to go fast, you'll deal with stuff in phase 2, but if you get too far away from the boss, you get some really nasty attacks. And honestly, the best thing to do is to bone out of the fight, go back to your last checkpoint, come back and do the fight again. That's just the best play. So he was prepared. He knew what he was doing there. Well done. Almost a one cycle, just not quite enough damage, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely. And we have Square here doing something that I actually really enjoy. A lot of people like to use skulls for these stairs, the Lothric stairs, infamous Lothric stairs. Oh, no, never mind. He did use a skull there.
Oh, it makes sense to use them at the end for sure.
It does, because these knights at the top of the stairs can be very, very scary. You can play it a little bit risky and not use a skull. It is possible, but your lines do have to make sense if you choose to do that.
Yeah, and he's making his way to the Twin Princes. Another fight where the Bandit's Knife, the Bandit's Knife is an excellent choice for this fight. I love using the Bandit's Knife here. I'm assuming he's not going to be doing the cheese at the fog wall where you just roll back and forth constantly. But it is a very good weapon. We'll see how he does with it while Iskaral enters the Dragon Slayer fight. And Bandit's Knife is not great here because DSA is immune to bleed, and it just doesn't do tons of damage. So he's probably going to be in this fight for a significant amount of time. Oh, using Quick Step to good effect, though, so I like it.
Yes, very, very nice use of Quick Step there. And you're right, it's going to be a little bit of a longer fight, even though if you think about it, Iskaral has more stats, or perhaps his weapon is more upgraded.
That's true.
But because of the weapon type and because DSA does not bleed, I mean, you can't bleed a piece of armor. So it's going to be interesting to see how phase 2 is going to look like, because you're going to have to, very nice use of Quick Step there.
Quick stepping through the AoE there. That AoE only has 4 active frames. It's very short, but that is gutsy, just going for that Quick Step. I haven't seen that before.
Me neither. Very nice. That was exciting.
And Square is getting into phase 2 of Twin Princes. This fight can be brutal. When they teleport away from you, things can go haywire. So we'll see how well he can control the fight. You want to use the strat of rotating around them as they are rotating. You preemptively stay behind them. And he's doing a good job there, preventing any teleports. This is looking nice and clean.
Yes. You really can't greed, especially in phase 2, I find. I think and it's hard because I think greed is one of the bigger things when it comes to and there it's done.
Oh, very nicely done, Square.
Yeah, and he handled it perfectly, right? With the
that was
spins. Great. Yeah,
absolutely.
You don't want to greed it. You just
great
want one hit at
on
a
that
time.
Strat.
Yes, it's done perfectly. It's like a kind of a sound cue when they spin. That's like 2 little clonks of their armor or something, and you kind of want to use that as a rhythm to keep spinning around. But Iskaral is having to deal with lasers and butterflies and DSA. But he's handling it very,
lasers
very
and butterflies
well.
and DSA. Oh my!
Oh
nicely
my,
done.
Indeed, nicely done. These guys are absolutely going through this run, making it look easy, but it is a lot of work and a lot of hours that have been put in. I can speak for myself to get to this point and this skill level. It's very admirable.
So we see Square. He is placing the Cinders of a Lord, the 4 that he's acquired, on the thrones in Firelink. He's not going to fight Cinder yet. I'm pretty sure they're saving Cinder for the very last boss of this fight. And we'll see why when we get to that point. But what boss is he going to fight next with the Storm Ruler? I'm thinking
I'm
he's going to
curious
fight.
as well.
I think Old Demon King probably
I was
because
just gonna, yeah, that's the only.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the only ones left for him.
yeah, he doesn't have many bosses left. And a greatsword is an excellent weapon to use against ODK. It's a very good choice. So we'll see if that's right or not. And Iskaralpust90 doing a great job taking care of the sage at the beginning of Archives. Now he's got a bit of a running
Is he going
section.
to Cinder?
We'll
With
see.
the Storm
You
Ruler?
can fight Cinder with the greatsword. That is a legit choice. No, he is going to ODK.
Okay, he's
that
going
makes
to
sense.
ODK. Okay.
Yeah.
For a second there, I was like, oh, that was that. I mean, I would have loved to watch that, you know? Like, would have been
We'll
a very
get there.
interesting
We'll
fight.
get there.
We will.
And we'll see.
Will.
Well, I imagine like Bandit's Knife with Bleed is going to be extremely good against Cinder, but the Greatsword is a fantastic choice too. You really could go with either one. There's no real wrong choice, but given the choice between those two, I would go with Bandit Knife with the Bleed 100% of the time. Like, that's just me though.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think any weapon is viable, I would say. Honestly, even a broken straight sword, you could if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's
you know?
true. Cinder's one of those really good fights where you can really fight him with pretty much anything you have. He's just a very well-designed fight. Well,
He is.
that's not necessarily true. If you fight him with something like a great bow, you're going to be in for some pain and suffering, but that's nobody's doing that here today, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's a whole other kind of situation.
Nice. Staggering him out of
yes.
the meteors. Same thing we saw with the Scarl, actually.
Yes, but we're gonna see now how he has to go back in, and ODK has a couple. Old Demon King, sorry, ODK has a couple again tricks up his sleeve. There's a tiny little stagger that can
Really
happen
good
if you're
positioning here.
very, very good positioning.
Yeah,
And
the little stagger at the base of his tail is something you got to be aware of. Getting away from the explosion here. This is a large explosion. And that was close. That was a meteor
Ooh,
lingering afterward.
yeah.
I didn't see that.
I didn't
Nice
see that
job.
either. Very, very nice.
That's what you got to be
GG.
careful about. But luckily, nothing happened here. So good job.
We missed this on squares, but Iskaralpust is making use of the white branch here for
Oh yeah, getting
getting
past the
past this
gargoyle.
gargoyle. Yep. Square did the same thing. And I think we do have a moment to catch up on donations.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to remind everybody, all of you have been so heckin' generous with your 13K towards American Heart Association. But for those of you just tuning in, I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up about what the American Heart Association does. The AHA, the American Heart Association, is working towards health equality by doing things like providing education to healthcare professionals and the public, applying new knowledge to treat heart disease, stroke, teaching individual prevention, focusing on health impact of the conditions in which people live, work, play, and pray, and fighting against systems, laws, and customs perpetuating inequalities. They're doing an absolutely amazing job, and all of your money is going towards that fantastic cause. So I just want to take time to say thank you so much for that. Back to King of the Storm on Square's
Thank you,
side.
Chad. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, King of the Storm, the first phase of the Nameless King fight. And this is probably another one of those fights that gave people headache on their first playthrough. A lot of times you'll lock onto this enemy, especially the head of the Drake or whatever it is, and your camera just moves around in wild ways and you have no idea what's going on. Square is doing a good job here, only locking on when needed, and the great sword is doing good damage. You can eventually get a stagger on this. A lot of people like to call it a chicken, whatever it is. This Drake, this whatever.
I call it a sky doggo.
Yeah, the sky doggo. We'll go with that. Good job doing damage to the head, and
Yes.
switching over to the Bandit's Knife. Nice. Switching over to the Bandit's Knife for Nameless. This should be a fun fight.
It is a very satisfying fight to do with the Bandit's Knife and the Quick Step. We'll see if I believe he will be using...
Oh yeah, I could use Quick Step here for sure.
You can, but I think on SL1 I will save. Regardless, there we go, the
yes.
Quick Step in. Okay, we have a roll and a Quick Step, a combo wombo. We got a Quick Step, and we got it's really such a fun fight to do with a Quick Step weapon. And of course, the bleed helps as well. The main thing I would say about SL1 and this fight is your stamina. It's not even your health or your damage.
Yeah. Nameless is brutal on your stamina. That's the big thing you've got to manage in this fight is you cannot get greedy, because then you will have no stamina and he will do a combo of 3 hits and just destroy you. So yeah, stamina management is paramount in this fight. Absolutely.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong here. If you are regenerating stamina, you do actually want to take a couple steps because I think it does actually help your stamina regen a little bit as opposed to just standing there.
I think what it is that when you've completed an attack, you want to begin moving as soon as possible because that will force your stamina to start recovering as soon as possible. I don't think it recovers any faster, but it can start recovering sooner, and that's what the benefit of moving, or in cases like Elden Ring, you do block canceling for the same effect. Nicely done by Square.
Nicely
Good
done,
clean fight.
a G, and making very lovely use of that quick step there. And Nameless is done, and I believe Square has just the one boss left, whilst Iskaral is handling the Twin Princes. And it's in phase 2, which is, as we said, a very scary phase. You do have to get in position and try not to greet. And there we go. We can see an example of a teleportation that happened there. And
that's so scary. I thought they landed on a chair, and that's when it gets scary because they can cancel whatever they're doing and go into another animation very quickly. What? Just like that? Okay, on cue. My bad.
Yeah. And they do have a quick slam as well when they teleport. So
this fight is so scary.
It is. There can be so many things that happen if you kind of don't keep them.
Okay,
there we go. And the bleed damage is going to come through here for Lothric.
Nicely
GG.
done.
Iskaral, nicely
He did a great job using Quick Step to dash through, maximize the iframes. Oh, and indeed, we see Square actually using the Storm Ruler against Cinder.
Cinder, oh wow.
I'm a little surprised. So Square is at the end of his run. This is the final boss. And this is... this fight, like, there's so much going on in this fight.
The infamous Soul of Cinder himself. And it is a very, very well-designed fight, and not just mechanically, but lore-wise as well. Like, if you're into that, it's just, there's so much really cool information about him, why he is the way he is, and why he is designed the way he is. There's so much information on Cinder and how to, again, he has four different modes that he can have just in phase 1. Here we have the curved sword phase, and I wouldn't call it a phase because he can just swap between the weapons. So he has a curved sword mode.
Yeah, the terminology gets a little weird. We call it, sword phase, spear phase, magic phase, but it's all inside of phase 1.
Yes. Yeah, and here we have a preview of that magic coming out, and magic can get quite scary because those homing soul masses.
We get soul mass into spear phase.
Yes, and soul mass on a spear phase is probably one of the most
it really depends. And this is why you use the greatsword, because he was able to stagger him and cancel the soul mass. So Cinder was in magic phase, he had soul mass up, and then he switched to another weapon. And that can be very scary depending on what you're doing, but he did a great job using the greatsword to get that stagger, and that cancels the soul mass from being a problem anymore. So this is one reason why, like I said, I would probably choose to use the bandit's knife with bleed just because of what I'm comfortable with. But this is one of the benefits of using the greatsword, and he's making excellent use of it. So very nicely done.
I agree. I actually don't see him. There we go. I was gonna mention the healing. So Cinder can heal, and I didn't notice Square getting any of the charms to
curve sword phase.
And he got a
stagger.
You can punish, yes,
Nice.
and we can now see the benefit of using. Oh, and he's swapping
End of phase
to
1.
bandit knife in
I
phase
like this.
2. Very. This is really awesome to watch. Just wonderful. The use of the different weapons just in one boss fight alone, right?
Yeah, this is great. I love seeing this. And you're going to see phase 2 should go very fast as long as nothing goes wrong. Quick stepping through the attacks. So the quick steps, they do consume a little bit of FP and less stamina than a regular roll, but you get more iframes. So this is an amazing way to fight Cinder. You can be very aggressive. All you have to do is just manage your stamina, manage your FP, make sure you don't get too greedy, and this fight should go pretty fast.
Yes, and look at Square just absolutely showing
nice Estus
Cinder
cancel in the middle of that stagger. Beautiful.
That was really sleek as well. And I think with Cinder, the kicks, and Cinder has done, I think, 3 or 4 kicks now at this point. Those kicks can be the run, right? G Square. Cinder done and dusted.
And while that was happening, Iskaralpust took care of the Ancient Wyvern in Archdragon Peak. And I believe we have a little extra thing here. Yeah, indeed. So Square has finished up, and we're going to get a different ending than usual by request from one of the large donators before this weekend started.
Oh, no. Wait.
So I believe this is the unkindled ending.
Wait, but
some
this
people
can go two ways. Which way is it going to go?
We'll
I
see.
think I
We'll
may
see.
know because one of the top donors for September, Nuclear Pasta Tom, who raised $4,000 for the American Heart Association, by the way, that is not chump change, got to
Legendary.
customize their own Games Done Hitless run for this weekend. And he may have had something to do with this ending we're about to see. So check this out, Chad. It's gonna be interesting.
Oh, yes. So if you guys have not seen this ending before, well, you're in for, I don't want to call it a treat. You're in
A
for
treat?
something. No,
Someone
I
clip
don't
that.
want to
Someone clip that right now.
I
The AHA
don't
needs to know.
It's certainly something. It's not my preferred ending. I get very upset, but we're gonna see. It's not happened yet, so we're just gonna see. But Iskaral is dealing with the wyvern spawn. It's not an actual boss, right? In North Dragon Peak, no issues there. Oh, there we have. It is a very cool cutscene, I will say that.
While that cutscene is going on, Iskaral is making excellent use of a hidden body in this running section. It helps to just minimize the risk and prevent the nonsense. You get to the bonfire quickly and you're able to do your thing. So a really good demonstration of hidden body.
Yes. Very, very useful tool and very useful spell to have. And we're going to see the bandit knife on phase 1 of Nameless King, which is quite a tricky one because of the range.
The reach. You got to be quite particular with how you manage your positioning and rolls and everything.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens with Square here. Oh, unbelievable. Did you see what he just did? That is horrible.
Terrible. Oh my days, I can't watch. Oh gosh.
Didn't this happen in Demon Souls as well? There was an ending where you can like stomp on the whatever. I think it was. And yeah, Iskaral in phase 1 of the Nameless fight, doing a good job attacking the head of the Drake. Not easy to do, and yeah, some attacks are going to whiff, but he's already making good progress on the fight, so it's looking solid.
Absolutely solid, and we get a nice juicy riposte there that will most likely carry him into phase 2. You do, I think, with
Nicely
a shorter,
done.
yes, nicely done. With a shorter weapon, you want to, hit the boss as many times as possible, especially when you're down. Now we're gonna see a phase 2 bandit knife, and we see here the quick step is going to be fully utilized. I think there we go.
And with the levels that he's had, he's been able to invest. He has more stamina and more FP to deal with compared to Square at SO1. And nice job, Square. 137.57, a good solid run. Few hits here and there, but that is what happens.
Very solid run. That time is amazing. It's to do all main game bosses without DLC in under 2 hours, almost under 90 minutes. In fact, is pretty skilled, to say the least.
A nice stagger from Iskaral.
Very nice, and getting the riposte with the bandits.
Almost done with the fight already. Oh gosh! Wow,
it flies by. GG Iskaral, and I believe Iskaral is now on their final boss, which is Soul of Cinder again.
Believe he is. I can't think of anything else that's left in any of the base games, so I believe he's heading to Cinder here in a moment. Yeah, it looks like he's heading up to place the cinders and go to the final boss. So these runners were pretty close to each other, only a few minutes apart. Very nice.
Very, very close, yes. And we're going to see the difference of being able to stagger Cinder rather more easily with the Storm Ruler as opposed to having a Bandit's Knife.
The Bandit's Knife is still good in phase 1. I'm curious to see what he'll do, because when people use the Bandit's Knife against Cinder, some people in phase 1 will choose to two-hand the weapon, and it isn't quite as fast, but you do a little bit more poise damage, if I remember right. So you could do that, or you could stick with one-handing it, and you can still quick step if you want. It depends on the phase, the weapon that Cinder is using in phase 1, because you may not want to fight so aggressively when he's in curved sword phase, but the other phases, you could get aggressive with them. Just depends on how things are going. So let's see what he does here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, I would say it is maybe the general consensus that sword phase is, or at least for me, I think sword phase is like the easiest and the hardest in a way. Because
you can be the most aggressive with your punishes during sword phase. If you know what you're doing, you can really do a lot of damage during sword phase, but that doesn't mean, it's like spear phase, there's still good punish opportunities, and certainly in magic phase as well. Curved sword is going to be the most difficult for pretty much everyone.
Yeah, curved sword offers the least windows for punishing, and the sword phase you can actually, again with good positioning, as with most of these bosses, you can strafe or kind of just move around a lot of the moves so you don't roll, and that gives you more of a chance to land some hits in. And
nice stagger.
Course, nice one there.
Look at that, already over half of his health bar done.
Yes.
And of course, curved sword phase.
Yes.
We had to say it, didn't we?
Yes, we had to.
Yeah, it's fine with certain weapons to take punishes here and there, but with a weapon that has very limited range and doesn't do all that much damage on its own, you really want to be selective with your punishes. That was a good one there, but you're not going to get that many punish opportunities during curved sword phase. And with a weapon that's doing, status build up, it works well when you're being aggressive. So it makes a lot of sense to just back off, play it safe here, wait for the next phase, next weapon, and take that opportunity when you've got it.
Yes, and here's a relatively good opportunity. The one thing as well about Cinder that's another kind of obstacle in the fight. Oh, and we have some really nice quick steps here. That move can actually be pretty tricky. The hitboxes on spear phase can get kind of wonky. That strafe is yes. Oh,
love to see it.
Yes. The arena as well for Cinder can be kind of memey sometimes with the...
Yeah, it can. It's not really flat. There's enough elevation change here and there, and the tree stumps or whatever they are can be a problem for you. So this is not the
very
easiest.
Close. Oh,
yeah,
my days.
Nice.
Okay.
Very well done.
Nice quick step. Yes, very nice quick step to get some hits in very early on in phase 2, and then backing out. This is a good time to get buffs in, which is
exactly what he did. Refilled FP, increases stamina regen. Now he's going to do the same thing. Quick step and punish. Quick step and punish.
Yes. You can.
I love this. It's so good. I remember seeing this years ago, and my mind was blown by some runners. They're in another one of the Team Hitless fundraising events, I'm pretty sure. And as soon as I saw that, it was like, yeah, I got to learn how to do that. And you just kind of fall in love with it because of how fun it is.
Oh yes, I actually saw you do this. The first time I saw it was on
really?
was with you, and I was like, oh, I gotta do that. I gotta learn.
It's fun. I think I've learned it from Shilky, and I'm so glad that I did it because it's just one of my favorite ways to fight this boss. And again, Iskaral will be doing the unkindled ending as well. So thank you again, Tom, for the mega donation at the end of September. And GG to both our runners.
Yes, GG to Iskaral, GG to Square. Very exciting runs, both of them very, very well executed. Good job, guys. And of course,
all base game bosses, one of them with Bandit's Knife only, and the other at Soul Level 1 with a small variety of weapons. So these were two fantastic runs. You got to see some very different strats, ultimately for, the same general, they're both working for all base game bosses, and pretty close on the timing. Only a couple of things happened to slow down Iskarl early on, but he did a great job catching up, and just very impressive from both these runners. It's been great to be here and witness all this.
Yeah, same. And, a big thank you to Chad and you, Bender, and the hosts and everyone. Just been an amazing showcase, so amazing segment of the relay race. And
that was
absolutely.
So
thank you guys
close
for being here.
The time. Yeah, that was
thank you for
really
having us.
Entertaining.
Hey,
I think the
GG,
guys
guys.
count was
Thank
7.
you.
Hey,
Thank
GG
you.
guys.
GG.
Was it 7?
I think it was at least 7.
Quickly fade.
7 oh my days. Did I hear? Is that what I heard? I had 7 something during that run, but it was not oh my days, and it was not GDQ appropriate.
That will happen.
Anyway,
GG, guys,
chat,
great.
I'm
Thank you,
sorry
thank you.
for what you're about to witness on my
Oh,
screen
no.
right here. Blame
Oh
nuclear
no,
pasta
chat, close
Tom.
your eyes.
Yeah, blame Tom,
It's
guys.
only a dream. This isn't real, chat, okay?
Oh gosh.
But yeah, runners, congrats and GG's on the run. Very, very close. 2 hits to 5 hits. This was a really, really good race. We'll start with Square. Do you want to shout out anyone? Your Twitch channel, YouTube, anything like that?
Well, I will be streaming more Dark Souls 3 runs on Scwarzer, SCWARZ, ZER. And I would like to shout out Gura. Gura helped me a lot with this route, and he helped me optimize stuff. Garacho21. Dev, he's a good friend of mine. Fly, Sense, Doom, a lot of people. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Nameless.
And congrats again. So I don't know if donations already paid out, but Team Hob with another win. So congratulations to Team Hob. Any doubters, I'm so sorry for your channel points. But yeah, and let's move over to Team Dino. So iskaralpust, well done on the 5 hits. We're moving in the positive direction, chat. We went from 10 to 9 to 5. I believe we have potentially 3 more games left. This could be halfway through. It's still anyone's game. Okay, if you know me, I run tournaments. I've seen some crazy stuff over the years. All right, I believe it's anyone's game still. But yeah, do you have any shout outs for your team, or again, if you want to shout out yourself to YouTube or Twitch?
I'm Iskaral. I stream Dark Souls 3 on occasion. My usual run that I'm grinding is similar to this one, but so much worse. I'm working on SL1, all bosses with dagger weapons only. Shout outs as well to V-Swed. He is the reason that you had to put up with me today, because he's what got me into running Hitless. Shout out Bender is a huge inspiration. I definitely have stolen strats from him, some of which were in this run. Boggit as well. I actually stole the original idea of like Bandit's Knife only from Boggit. So a lot of our 2 casters here are amazing. I'm excited to go back and listen to what they had to say. And yeah, just the whole Hitless DS3 community is awesome.
Absolutely, especially for a game this difficult. It was great to see the showcase of skill here, and 2 very cool runs, very different in many ways, and you guys did a great job, so be very proud today. And thank you to everybody who's continued with the donations here. You guys have done an amazing job today.
Exactly, Bender. I echo those thoughts. And since, okay, there's too many transitions, all right? The low-hanging fruit. You mentioned V-Sweat, iskaralpust. Well, chat, V-Sweat is about to hop on the comms after this game, after we come back from break. Elden Ring, all great runes. There are some bosses in that run that I know you want to see, chat. So let's get the hype going from the break. Elden Ring is a heavy hitter. We all know this, okay? I think people are very excited for Elden Ring. Are you excited for Elden Ring, chat? And after that transition, Bender, is there anyone you want to shout out, yourself or others?
Yeah, yesterday we got to see both Hob and Nico do commentary for Dark Souls 1. I mean, they are the reason that I got into doing these runs. I wouldn't have gotten into it if it weren't for seeing them showing off what's possible. But literally, so many runners who continue to inspire me to keep doing things, showing what's possible in all of these different games. It's an absolutely amazing community overall, not just in Dark Souls 3, but all the games, all the runners. It's fantastic to see new people come in and just run with it and enjoy themselves and have fun. And I want to see more of that. So if anybody out there is interested in trying this kind of thing out for themselves, it's only ever getting easier. There's more resources, guides, tools, everything. Check out the Team Hitless Discord. Get into it if you're interested. Try it out for yourself. But just stick around and watch these runners. If you have enjoyed what you've seen today, keep on showing support for them. And I guarantee you will not be disappointed. There's so many cool runners out here doing cool things. So just thank you to the entire no-hit community at large. Just you continue to inspire so many of us to keep on doing these amazing things.
Well said, Bender. And it is really true. Anyone can become a hitless runner. Chat, maybe you don't believe me, but at one point in time, I didn't even think I could do Dark Souls 2 deathless. And
yeah, that's
when
how
I
it
got
goes.
my first Dark Souls 2 hitless run, I was crying so much that like you can probably find it. It's probably viral on Twitter. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, anyone can do it. Like I said, it really is a personal challenge. You obviously can go by the Team Hitless rules, or you can make your own and not submit. But just taking on and setting a goal and accomplishing it is a feeling like none other. So exclamation point Hitless in the chat if you want to join the server, or if you want to just lurk and hang out. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's welcome to anyone to join. And yeah, serboggit, any shout outs for you?
Oh, it's going to second a lot of what you all have already said. The big shout out to Team Hitless and GDQ for, putting up this event and showing us how awesome and fun Hitless runs can be, and how awesome and fun all these games are. Big shout out to every admin mod on both sides, and of course to everyone in this room today. I agree with what you said. It's anyone and everyone can do a Hitless run. Not trying to top you, but it's just, I didn't even think I would play the Souls games because I was like, oh, those games are hard. I am not a gamer that's built like that, And then when I got my run, I'm a one-run Andy, but I'm working on others in a way. And it was just the most euphoric thing. Oh, like it's one of the best feelings because you put the work in and it pays off, right? And honestly, exactly. If I can do it, anyone can do it. If you don't have to go as speedy as the lovely runners here and in these last couple of days of showcases, you can take your time and do it. Just do it at your own pace, have fun, enjoy it. It's just so worth it. So yeah, give it a shot. And again, a big thank you to everyone in chat who is here and everyone who donated as well.
Definitely, and thank you again to the people who have organized and hosted this. GDQ for having us here. It's been a real treat to be here and talk through this run with you guys, and I hope you all enjoyed. And again, just thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Like I said, shout out to GDQ for letting us host our annual American Heart Association charity event on their channel. 3 days of Hitless runs we have seen. But the show is not over, chat. And real quick, Oscar, do you have anything you wanted to say before I move us to break?
Other than all of you are absolutely amazing at everything you do. Chat, give GGs to everybody. Couple quick donations before we head on to
Donos
break.
chat. Let's go.
Exclamation point donate for American Heart Association. We have $5 from Max Tone. $10. I said this name wrong before. Let's try if I can not say it again. Croax?
Croax? Yeah, Croax. With the raid as well, by the way.
With the raid as well. $5 from Peter Graves, another $5 from Newt Bag. We have more donations coming down the pipeline, all for a fantastic cause. You are all amazing.
Shocker, but Croax is our Sekiro runner for later if we unlock the bonus game, chat. I do not make up these transitions, okay? We got 15K to hit. We got this. Dark Souls 3 is in the bag. Elden Ring is next. We can't wait, okay? We will see you in less than 10, 15 minutes. So we are going to hit 15K and get Sekiro, I believe.
Yay!
But thank you so much, guys. I want to see it. Thank you so much for all the donations, and we will be right back. Stay tuned.